Let the countdown begin. My name is Drew Stone, and this is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies. There's lots of fiction from the truth. Society's slow and tragic demise. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Everyone's got their fucking opinion.
What's up? What's going on in your life? Are you doing good things? Are good things coming to you? I bet if you watch the show, you're doing good things. Maybe some bad things on the side. I don't know. What's going on, everybody? Robert Hogg. What's up, Jose? Anthony. What's up, Steven? You out in the heat? I haven't been out in 3 days. Not going out in this shit. It's like 3,000 degrees here. Fuck that. I'd much rather deal with the winter than this nonsense. Pat Baldwin, what's up? Speaking of heat, hey Ned, where's Sindi? She's not backstage or nothing. What are you laughing at? Hey Ned, get your fucking woman on the fucking computer, bro.
Hey, watch that.
Come on, Ned, make it happen.
I know what's happening today. It's this heat. It's the heat.
Speaking of heat, I hear there were some sharks up your way.
Yes, there was. I'm so excited about that, actually. I have this app on my phone called Sharktivity. I think National Geographic puts it out or sponsors it or something. And you get a little alert when there's a shark. And it's usually somewhere up the Chatham area. I'm all the way down in Falmouth.
Hold on a second. Sindi, you're where? You I don't know what link you're following, but it's not the link that I sent you last night. You're following you're watching the show. You need to follow the link that we did the tech check with last night so you can get on the show. So you can participate in the show. Good Lord. Come on, Ned.
It's the heat.
Come on, Ned. Get it together, bro. Welcome to the New York Hardcore Chronicles. You want a little abuse today? Oh.
But
All
anyway,
right, I see you, Sindi. Very good.
Yeah, we have sharks.
All right, so back to the shark thing. So there's sharks up there. You know that we were at Rockaway the other day, and there were sharks out at Rockaway Beach.
Yeah, I mean, I had a friend from Long Island. She's like, "Hey, I see that there's sharks right by your work and everything. I hope you stay safe." I said, "When do you ever know me to go in the ocean? The ocean's disgusting."
Listen, I'm never going in the ocean again. So I don't give a fuck if fucking whatever's out there.
Yeah, I'll put my toes in there, but about it.
There's sharks out at Rockaway Beach. Rochelle's like, "You're not going in the ocean. You're gonna get bit by a shark."
I need my water. I need my water filtered, like in a pool.
She's like, "You're not going in the ocean. You'll get bit by a shark." Like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, this is where they film Jaws, so Come
What's
on.
up, Layla?
Hey, Layla.
Yeah. I'll get
So,
bit.
yeah.
I'll get bit too. I'll be the motherfucker that goes in the water and gets bit by like a shark at Coney Island. Like shark
Right.
attack off Coney Island. New York Hardcore Chronicles Live host Drew Stone was attacked. And it won't even be like a gangster shark. It'll be something like, you know.
No. You know, and like Steven's saying, talking about a sharknado, we almost had a sharknado. There was a water spout coming off the water, like a little, you know, microburst tornado thingy that hit Harwich a couple of years ago, and there was 2 shark sightings in the area. So we were hoping for a sharknado, but it didn't happen.
Yeah. I went shark fishing when I was a teenager off Montauk. And that was like one of the most crazy things I've ever done in my life. I don't know if they would do that sort of thing anymore. I mean, this was like in the I think it was like maybe the early 80s. And like we went out and like this is the concept, right? You go out and you dump all this blood and guts in the water. First thing, you get out there, you know, and everybody's drinking. Everyone's drinking and smoking and drinking and not just beer. We were drinking like Jack Daniels at like 11 in the morning. We were like, you throw all the blood in, you throw all this blood and guts into the water, and then with the concept is, if you throw these blood and guts in the water, it's going to attract sharks.
Yes.
Right. So sharks start coming around the boat, right? First a couple little ones, and before you know it, there's like the boat is surrounded by sharks. Some of them, like to me, they look like they were about as big as the boat, you know. And the concept is, you get them, you pull them on the boat, and then you pummel them senseless, right? And you just like kill. You just get wasted and kill.
Terrible.
Yeah. I'm not
Terrible.
Listen.
I hate all that.
Yeah. Hey, Sid
there he is.
Sid the Kid. Happy birthday, bro.
Yes.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday to Sid the Kid. Now, when Sid the Kid turns 50, is he Sid the Kid anymore? Just like
Sid the middle-aged man.
Well, wouldn't it be like the Beastie Boys would be like the Beastie Dudes?
I think he'll always be a kid at heart. So I think Sid the Kid is still valid.
Hey, Gregory. Hey, Drew. It was a pleasure meeting you and getting to talk for a bit in Boston. It absolutely was. That was a great show, man. Thanks for coming out. Yeah.
Really a lot of fun.
That was a great night, Gregory. And thanks for being a part of it. We definitely brought it. And we're going to be ID will be back in Boston. There's some talk already about playing Worcester.
Worcester. Beautiful tropical Worcester.
Yeah. Sid the Mid. Good one.
Sid the Mid.
Anyway, so that's the shark thing. You know, you just.
Yeah. Got to be careful out there. You come to Cape Cod and you see any seals, don't go out there trying to pet them, because they're shark potato chips. You'll get eaten.
Yeah. What's up, Rich? Yep. So there you go. You know what? I don't like sharks. I don't like bears either.
No, very unpredictable.
Bears are like
they're land sharks, really. That's what they are.
Yeah.
They'll eat you too.
So I'm never going in the ocean, and I'm never going in the woods. What does that leave?
Stay in the city. You're safe in your apartment.
Hey, listen. Believe me, we've already accepted that. We're like, we're never leaving here. Like, I don't give a fuck if they blow up the bridges and seal off the tunnels. I don't give a fazzuck if I ever leave this island. And I mean that. If I never left the island of Manhattan, I'd be good.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy here too. Out in the Atlantic.
What's up, Brian Madsen? Oh, getting psyched for Fugit this Sunday.
Absolutely, yeah. It's going to be a good one.
Fugit this Sunday.
Coming down for that.
All right. Yeah, this is going to be a good one.
It's going to be a good show. It's going to be a hot day.
Hey, Layla, when are they announcing that show we're playing together? Come on, with your Connecticut run-ins up there. I think if I remember correctly, ID's playing with Concrete Ties in Connecticut. I think it's October or November. I don't know.
Is that around New Haven?
No, Cherry Street Station is in. It's middle of nowhere, Connecticut.
Really? I thought it was kind of close to New Haven, though. We'll find out.
Hey, let's bring our guest on.
Yes.
Oh, November 15th. Thank you.
Okay, awesome.
Wallingford.
Oh, okay, okay.
The jewel. The jewel of Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wallingford, Connecticut. The jewel of Connecticut. Oh,
That's
it's 15 minutes. 15 minutes, says another Connecticut denizen, Ray Hogan.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's bring our guest on. Let's continue this madness. Today's guest is an American guitarist and DJ hailing from La Ciudad de Nueva York. As a musician, she is best known as the guitarist of the pioneering all-girl punk band Lunachicks. Please welcome, coming at us from lovely Brooklyn, New York, Sindi Halfrats. Hey.
Hey, there she is.
And here I am. I was here the whole time. I did follow the link, but whatever. It's never going to work right because I'm just not savvy. But also not completely, that thing that I said yesterday. I'm not that either. So.
Right.
Here I am. Hi.
Yes, well, welcome.
Hey, look, you got your man cheering you on. Yay! It happened, right?
I'm super excited about today.
Yeah.
It's good to be here. I'm going to try not to sweat in the keys here and disrupt the connection.
Yeah, I apologize to anybody out there that might hear the air conditioner whirring in the background. I am not turning my air conditioner off today. It's 300 degrees here in New York. So
yeah.
That's,
I think the humidity out here is like close to 90%. It's like, ugh. So
listen to us kvetching.
I know.
Punk rock.
I'm kvetching. Hey, I grew up with Yiddish in my household.
We all did. If we were from New York, the Yiddish integrates itself into the vocabulary here.
Well, my grandparents were from the old country. They spoke Yiddish.
Nice.
So it was pretty cool to be around Yiddish. Anyway, that said,
okay.
Listen, enough sharks, enough bears, enough Yiddish, enough Wallingford, Connecticut, enough all that bullshit. Let's
dive right in.
Let's dive right in. So, how did you come up? Tell us about. Did you grow up in a musical household? How did music, the tie that binds us together, the element that brings us all from around the world together here today? How did music come into your life?
Well, I grew up in a musical household in the way of music was important. Rock and roll was important. So, but it wasn't like musicians in the family. But yeah, I grew up on the Rolling Stones and the Beatles and hard rock, some, Cream and the Doors and whatever was around already back then in the old days when I was a child. So I grew up around listening to music, but not playing it. And I didn't ever think that it would be what I did. I guess we all played the recorder in grade school, right? And I was not very good at that. So, I started my interest in music, in punk rock, though, when I went on a family trip to England in the late 1970s.
So awesome.
and just smacked me right in the face. And I knew it was like that cartoon light bulb that goes off over your head where you're like, this is it. And I never turned back. I still haven't turned back. Here I am.
And what were you over in England for?
Family visit.
Okay.
So we went like a couple of summers in a row. I was there. I was just talking about this. I remember I was there when Elvis died. So that if you know that date, you'll know. And I was there.
76.
Those summers in the late, I think it was 77 or 78.
All right.
Those summers I was there. So it was like
Oh,
a
wow.
lot of time to be there, right?
Yeah.
And I saw they had 3 TV channels back then, and I actually saw a Stiff Little Fingers concert on television. It was Stiff Little Fingers and U2.
Wow.
And that was like, and again, like, and Stiff Little Fingers became my favorite band. And
yeah, they were great. They were great back. They were great. They were a great band. They were
really
great. They were sort of like the band that I mean, the Clash, the Alarm, U2, but Stiff Little Fingers, they never broke through on a big time, but those first couple records were great, man. I love that band.
It was really, really important to me.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I came into it with a bang,
Was that the first music that like spoke to you? Like, this is my music?
Yes. I had always listened to, I listened to the radio like everybody else. We had the Rolling Stones records at home. I used to just examine those record covers, the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, just stare and read. And there was so much to read into and so much weird shit. And am I allowed to say shit on this show?
Yes, we say everything on this show.
Fantastic. Yeah. So I loved it, but it wasn't until I discovered punk rock that I was like, okay, now I know, now I got it. This is it. I'm all set. And screw everything else.
That's awesome.
When you came back.
Oh no!
When you came back to New York after that trip, did you seek out like?
Hell yes, I did.
like, does this exist in New York? Like, tell us about coming back to New York from London, and like, what was the topography like in New York City then, and your adventures seeking out that music.
Well, I think that the first year, maybe I was a little bit too young to seek it out too much. There was a couple of older kids in my school who I could see were on that train, but they didn't want to have anything to do with me. I was just a kid, and then I started looking for shows to go to. When I hit around 15, 16, I started to go to shows. I started going to the Peppermint Lounge, and it was on 45th Street, and they would happily let an underage girl in. So I was able to go to some shows there. One of my first shows was the Misfits at Ukrainian Hall. That was with the Undead.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so I got to, I love telling people, yeah, I saw the Misfits for $5.
Yeah.
There are some advantages to being older. So one of them is seeing the Misfits for $5.
Mm-hmm.
So that was very important to me.
This is a Ukrainian show.
I thought the Undead were on that show.
They might have been.
Open.
This place, this Ukrainian hall is like a Ukrainian restaurant still.
I've been down there. Yeah,
and I've been down there, and I'm like, this place has serious punk rock history, and the food is great there. It's a great place.
Yeah.
They can't take that away from us.
Yeah. There you go.
That was a great show. I mean, that was, those things were instrumental in me becoming who I became and who I continue to be. So yeah, that was memorable.
I'm digging up. I want to get a Peppermint Lounge flyer.
Yeah, that's awesome. So Miss for $5 time I saw them, it was like $175
Oh, ouch.
for nosebleeds.
Yeah, there were only nosebleeds. No, there were no nosebleeds at the Ukrainian Hall. It was
just nosebleeds in the pit.
Exactly. Yeah, Peppermint Lounge is a great place.
Yeah, here's just some. It's probably 82.
Wow.
Nice.
Different shows. The Fleshtones, Bad Brains. I saw the Bad Brains at the Peppermint Lounge.
I was not at that one. I saw them at CB's. I think they played 2 nights at CB's.
Now, were there any other girls around? Any women? Any girls in bands?
So yeah, I sent Drew a couple of pictures, which he can pull up when he's done looking for this other thing that he's looking for. But there was XKI.
Yes. Okay. Killer Instinct.
Yeah, they were like my first female band that I saw. Okay, they weren't. There was also a guy in the band, but yeah, that was my first. Carolyn and Kitty, and so there were some. There weren't a lot back then.
Sorry to interrupt, but this is a picture that I took. This is a photo I took of the Bad Brains at the Peppermint Lounge.
Nice.
Yeah, in 1982. Look how high the stage was. Those kids are like standing. It's like the stage was like 6 feet high at the Peppermint Lounge.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, fucking stage was 6 feet high. So
I loved that place so much.
Yeah, that was a cool place. But you mentioned XKI, and you sent me a couple pictures, including this one, which you took.
Which I took. This is my photograph. Anybody who says it's not, anybody who says it's their photograph is lying.
So you went. Now this is, and I know this picture. I have this picture in my archive. Just because everything gets thrown into and labeled in case I need it as a reference for the show, and a couple other ones. I never knew these were your shots.
Yeah, I know.
But all that's going to change because we're going to get. So, did you go to shows with a camera?
I did for a little while. I went to shows with a camera, and a real camera, where I had to adjust everything myself. So a lot of my photos were really shit because I was also drinking, and I was just learning how to use the camera, and there was no automatic setting on the camera, so it was just me trying to figure out how to do it and trying to get drunk at the same time. Which, I mean, you can see occasionally it worked out.
That was a great shot.
Well, here's one that's sort of really. This is. I know this one. I think I might have used this in my New York Hardcore Chronicles film, and didn't know who took it. It was just. But this is Jimmy G, DJing at the A7 when he used to DJ out of the closet by the door, and I mean this stuff has an intrinsic historic value. That's why we must get your negative scan. Look at this. This is
negative scan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did these end up on the internet? So they somehow made their way to the internet then?
There was this period of time called MySpace.
Oh yeah. Of course.
And I was living in Germany and not really with it. And I thought this is fun. I'm going to share this stuff. And I shared it. And I never thought about it having value or that people would steal it as their own or that I just didn't think about it at all. I just thought like, wow, it'll be fun that some people will really want to see these. And that's a naivete that I don't have anymore, but
Yeah.
there you go. And then, and then I noticed like somebody had taken credit online for one of those pictures. And that's when I was like, fuck this. And I sort of snatched them all back offline, but it was too late. They had already.
But the genie was let out of the bottle.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you know what? Not to be in the defense of MySpace or predators of, but that was so early on in like, who had any clue that like
Yeah. I mean, it happened to a lot of artists too, a lot of art and everything got, swiped and stolen and from there as well, people's drawings ended up in, like other places and stuff. And yeah, so.
If you would have said to me back then, listen, there's going to be a day where you're going to be hosting a talk show on the internet. And don't worry about your career as a filmmaker, your career as a musician, an actor. Listen, fat, as my grandma would say, fat. You're going to end up talking to your friends from your apartment a couple times a month. And that's going to be your life. I'll be like, oh, that's cool. When can we do that?
Yeah.
I don't have to go outside anymore,
Yeah.
But MySpace was the precursor. It was sort of the minor leagues before we got to the big leagues. Here's another one of your shots. This one I've never seen. Could you tell us what's going on here?
Yeah, this is out front of CB's. As you can see the awning in the background, and of course the Palace Hotel sign. And yeah, it's outside of Matinee. I don't know which one, but this is a photo of the girls.
Yeah.
Is that Polly in the middle?
It sure is.
We grew up with Polly.
That's Yana, Polly, Bernadette. Is that Bernadette? No, I can't remember everybody.
Who's in the front? Do you know who's in the very front?
That's the one who I don't know, but I showed the picture to Yana once, and she named everybody for me. But
of course,
in typical fashion, I have forgotten what their names are. So Yana would know.
Yeah, we grew up with Polly up in the Bronx, and she went. Yeah. We went to like public school with her, and she was my brother's age, and it's interesting. It's interesting that like you grow up in a neighborhood, wherever. I think this is a lot of people, and then like someone from your neighborhood like turns up in this scene. You're like, what the fuck is Polly doing hanging at CBG? But that's how things happen a lot, and then you're like, oh, cool. But this is a great shot, and we will be scanning the negatives.
Yes.
Negatives. I have negatives. I think I have a couple of versions of this particular grouping. And anybody who tries to use them without giving me credit, I will find you. I will.
No, we're going to scan them and we'll watermark them. Like,
that's right.
This is important. This is, how I feel about this stuff as a music historian, archaeologist. There is a real important non-monetary value historically to this stuff, and it is I find it so fascinating, and it's like a passion of mine. Like this stuff, this is important. This is Americana this is just the way I look at it,
Yeah, and people want to see this stuff too.
Yeah.
Now, is this the time that PMS was playing out?
I think this is pre-PMS.
This Lord, my take is that this could be like 83.
Okay.
I think most of my pictures are 82, 83.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
I feel like I could be standing like in the background of this shot. Like this is like I recognize all these people like it's an old like school picture where you recognize everyone's face but you don't know their names. I feel like
Right.
Look,
Right.
here's another one.
Oh wow.
Oh, hold on. Let me. Okay, is that Joe Nails and Vinny?
Joe Nails and Vinny.
Yeah. Wow. Look at that.
Look at those charming young men.
Yeah.
They're so sweet.
That flyer of Joe Nails and Vinny in front of CB's, is that one of your pictures? That's
one of my pictures. Yeah.
Wow.
Damn. See, I know my shit.
Yeah. Yeah. This is an outtake.
Let me see if I can find that flyer.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, it's in Roger's book.
Well, yeah, everything's in Roger's book, right?
Well, now you got to get your own book.
Well, I don't have enough for a book, and some of them are really poorly taken photographs. So, I was learning how to use a camera. I was learning how to do it. I was learning how to develop the film and print the photographs. So it was like learning how to use a camera, learning how to develop film, and learning how to print them. And between those three chances to make mistakes,
right,
you have some really imperfect photographs. But historically, and of course, as everything I do with lots of non-monetary value, they're great. But as far as putting them in a book, like, I don't know.
Well, we'll see. We'll see what you got. Got to get those all scans in then. So
I did take a lot in front of CB's. Here's a good group.
Hold on. Boom. Boom.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh wow.
Boom.
That's mine. Yeah, you can see from that picture that Vinny's t-shirt has been photoshopped because in this picture he's got a plain white t-shirt on.
Hold on, let me see.
Interesting fact.
Let's see.
Look at that. It's a plain white t-shirt.
Oh,
Look at that.
Now known.
I call fake.
And when did you start thinking that maybe watching all these bands that maybe you can do that too?
Yes, well, when I was 16, I did buy a guitar, and I did learn how to play Blitzkrieg Bop, and a couple of other songs.
To start a song for us all, right?
And then I was like, I don't think I'm great at this, so maybe, we'll put that away for a little while. And then it wasn't until I met the other girls that we started talking about it. We were going out and seeing bands together. Mm-hmm. And then it was like that group decision. Hey, we could do that. And that started. I didn't have any grand designs on my own until I hooked up with the rest of the Lunachicks.
How did the quote unquote rest of the Lunachicks, how'd they come across your radar screen? I mean, didn't those girls go to LaGuardia High School? Did you go there?
No, I did not go there. And I'm a few years older than those girls. And what happened was I had a party at my apartment, and somebody brought some of those girls to, I don't know who brought them, but there they were in my apartment, and I was liquoring them up, and we hit it off, and they became my friends, and then they became my band, and that's the whole story. Did they come as a unit? Was like were they like it sounds like they were like then I met those girls, like they came like 4 deep, and you were like, all right. Well, no, it was Sid and Theo, and
okay.
Gina I met a little later,
right?
But the two of them came, and honestly, I have very, very little recollection of that evening, as I'm sure they also have very little recollection of that evening, but it happened. It definitely happened. I still don't know who brought them there, how they got there, if anybody brought them there, if they heard somebody else talking about going there, or I don't know, but there they were. And
I remember that part in the book too. I laughed a little bit because you had said they just came into my life and then they were just there, you know?
literally just came into my life, like, and into my apartment. And
Yeah.
what are you gonna do?
And you were like you seemed like kind of like the cool older friend that everybody wanted to have, you know, with the party pad and the, you know, you can get the liquor and this and that. So the candy.
Yeah,
What else?
Lots of candy.
Sindi always had candy.
Always. I still
We'll get to that later, but we're getting close because that's a memory I have. Is Sindi always had candy back in the Lower East Side back in the day. What was it like a group consciousness, like let's start a band, or was there sort of like, was there a aha moment, or you know?
You know, it depends on whose history you listen to, because I have
you know what I say? You know what I say? This is the way I like to remember it. That's my line.
Well, I don't remember it that clearly, but I remember that we talked about doing it, and it fell to, I had a guitar. I already possessed a guitar. And Gina also already possessed a guitar and was a little bit more advanced than me already playing that guitar. And then Thea wanted to be the singer, and Sid decided to play the bass because she didn't want to have to play the drums. And so I was not asked to join later, as I've sometimes read. That's an untruth. We started it together. I came up with the name.
Yeah.
So it couldn't have really been a band before me. So yeah, and then we had our first drummer was Theo's boyfriend at the time, who was Mike, the singer of Nevermore.
Oh,
I don't know if you remember Nevermore. You remember
Nevermore? Yeah, wasn't Matt Green in Nevermore? I think I remember Matt Green being in Nevermore. But Nevermore went on. They had a little bit of a history, Nevermore. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. So he played drums with us because we didn't have a drummer. And also Andrea from Freaks then later played drums with us, who is in that photograph that you showed before. That's Andrea. She filled in. She was never our drummer, but she was also like scout mother, kind of more older and wiser rock and roll chick, who gave us lots of advice and lots of help and lots of support. Her and Howie were very supportive of early Lunachicks, and yeah, really, really helped us out in the beginning.
It seems that you also kind of played that role a little bit with the other girls being older.
Yeah, I mean, yes, I had my shit together a little bit more, as I tend to do anyway, regardless of how old I am. The kind of personality that I am is to be organized, to be on time, to put money aside for things you're going to need to put money aside for. Like, that's always who I was, and that's even back then. So I fell into that role a lot.
Sort of like
the planner. And then I had those couple of other years ahead of them, so I had an apartment.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
This is in my archive, probably because Antidote, we played this show with you guys. This is from September '89. This is the kind, we were both kind of in the same circuit down there. But this is a cool show. This is the New York Scum Rock Labor Day Bash from 4 to midnight with Hammerbrain featuring Ned Lindsay. See, this is how everything overlaps, which is very cool. Hammerbrain with Ned Lindsay, a Lunachicks with you, Antidote with me, Steel Empire, friends of ours. And this is at the Rivington School. Now, I don't have much of a recollection of this because we played a lot of shows like this back then. And a lot of them were really chaotic,
Yeah.
Ned says, I met Sindi there. How about that, huh?
How about that?
Hey, Brendan Rafferty, what's up, bro? The lurker. The lurker comes out of the shadows.
Nice.
Yeah. The glory days of Scum Rock. We played so many of these shows. I remember playing vacant lots and flooded basements, Oof.
Back when there were vacant lots.
Yeah, right. That's right. What was the early Lunachicks repertoire? Did you just come up with original music? Were there how did that first set list come together?
The songwriting never seemed to be an issue. The ideas were there, and we wrote songs. We did one or two covers along the way, but we wrote songs, and Theo had words, and they were great. And we had such great music stored in our brains and our spinal cords that it just manifests itself. Sorry,
it's okay.
I need a lozenge. Talking me bloody here.
Yeah.
That's great though.
Yeah. It was Christopher Valdez asks, who wrote Making It with Other Species?
I think in that first album, I think everything was really written together.
Yeah.
I don't remember anybody writing a song themselves, but I also, sorry everybody, I don't remember a lot of things. I was a drinker and stuff, and I lost a lot of that information.
Yeah.
We were having so much fun.
That's what I kind of gathered. I read the book and I really, really enjoyed it. I also listened to the audio because whenever you listen to a biography, I love hearing the person's emotion, the person's own emotion telling their stories. And the one thing that I got out of that book was the fun. There was a lot of fun. I mean, there were some issues as well too, of course, but just the pure, silly innocence of it, when it first started, and just all the silly pranks and the candy and the snacks and the nuttiness, Yeah. And
that was a lot of fun, until there wasn't really a lot of fun.
It wasn't. Yeah.
And then
you laugh, and then you cry, right? So, yeah. Basically.
Yeah, those were. I'd like to say those were fun times. I spent a lot of time down there in the Lower East Side, when I was in Antidote back then, and standing on the corner of Avenue and 7th Street for a couple years and getting high and eating Sal's Pizza and, being, back when it was King Tut's Wawa Hut and all that. And I like to think it was fun. I think it was sort of fun,
It was fun. It was definitely fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's another one. Here's another one. I actually posted this the other day, but this is Antidote, Blitzsphere, Hammerbrain again, Lunachicks, Murphy's Law, Radix, Token Entry. This was a benefited CD.
That was everybody. I was everybody. Who was in the audience? The other bands.
Yeah. This is when Mignon's baby passed away.
Baby, yeah.
It's very sad. Very sad. But yeah, we were in the same circuit, you know.
Yep.
And things seem to happen really quickly for you. I think after just a couple of shows, you were being whisked off into the studio.
Yeah, maybe a little too fast, but that's
Yeah.
how it happened. You know, that Kim and Thurston from Sonic Youth were at our third show or something like that, and they took us to their label.
Yeah.
For some reason, and then it all started. We went on tour in the UK with Dinosaur Jr. It's like all way too fast. We were not ready for it, but you know, we rose to the occasion, I guess, and we did a pretty good job.
Yes.
Do you have any memories of recording this, of the recording process?
Yes, I do, because it was at Wharton Tier's studio.
That's right.
And every day, and there was one block away from Essa Bagel, and so every day we could go get Essa Bagels, which are the best things in the world. And then we would go to the studio and eat our Essa Bagels and also record an album.
Yeah.
And smoke pot.
Is it fair to say that you guys were really thrilled with the production of this?
We were never thrilled with the production of anything.
Huh.
Especially back then, you know.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I guess there's people who don't know the stories and I have to repeat it.
Yeah,
we did go. We were put into the studio with Kim Gordon as producer. Was it Kim and Thurston? Yeah, they were supposed to produce the record. That was part of the deal of the record company picking us up. And so we all went into the studio together, which is, I guess, how we ended up at Wharton's studio, because they had recorded there.
Right.
We were very happy with Wharton. But we did not see eye to eye with the Sonic Youth folk. And they thought we were a bunch of bratty little brats, which, fair enough. And we, you know, none of us were fans of their music. None of us were like starstruck, like, oh my God, can you believe how great this is? You know, which in hindsight, like, even if we didn't like their music, which we didn't, it was really a great thing, and probably could have taken us on a whole other trajectory had that been an album produced by them. It might have been a trajectory that I did not want to be on, but it might have led to more success. Anyway, it doesn't matter, because we didn't last together in the studio. They stomped off, and we were like, don't let the door hit you on the ass. So
it sounds like, was there like a conflict? Like, we want you to do this, and you guys were like, no, we don't do that, and that was that. Then bye.
There was like a pivotal moment where my Boss distortion pedal decided that it was done living, and it sort of had this death throes sound where it was going to its demise, and they were like, this is great, we love it. And I was like, no, that's not my sound. That's broken equipment. I don't want to sound like broken equipment. I want to sound like good music. And so that was like the last, and that was
it kind of makes sense that Thurston Moore would think like, wow, that's amazing, and you guys be like, no, that's not my fucking sound.
That dissonance, you know, that's the sound we want. Yes.
Yeah.
But you know, that's pretty it says a lot to, I think, the integrity that, you know, you were so young, and yet, you know, and you had this put on a platter in front of you, and you're just like, no, we want to play music, we want to sound like the way we want to sound, and really stuck to your guns. And that says a lot, you know, for
From the
very
first
young
day.
women.
Yeah, there was never, no one could ever influence us,
Nope.
even if we had maybe should have taken somebody's advice now and then. It was just not going to happen. You know,
Right.
we knew
And
better.
pretty much the reoccurring theme every time you guys went into the studio with Binge and Purge and Jerk of All Trades. You know, you just did it on your own terms, you know. And it was back at a time where you really needed a record company to really get your stuff out there and do anything, you know. And I often think, like, you know, just reading the story and everything, like, how much different do you think it would have been from the Lunachicks nowadays with Bandcamp?
Or with the internet. I mean,
Or just with the internet.
with YouTube videos.
Yeah.
It would have been a totally different world, but I mean, I don't know if that would have been better, you know. I mean, yeah, maybe I would have more money, but
Yeah.
you know, maybe it would have been over after 3 years also. So
Right.
who knows? You know,
Right.
Money.
Money schmoney.
Grit
Money
and-
schmoney.
Really.
It just brings more problems. More money, more problems.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you were also battling with, you know, the we already have our girl bands mentality.
Yeah.
As well.
There was only this much room for females, and so you had to either get there first or fit better or something. But yes, there was a huge amount to that where you know, you couldn't be in this magazine because they had L7 last month, or you couldn't play at this club because Babes in Toyland had just toured, you know, a few weeks ago, or yeah, it was constant. It was constant and horrible. And I'm glad that it's not like that anymore. And I'm really happy for everybody else. And
Yeah,
you know, we did a lot of work for y'all. And
yes, and that's what I was going to say. And I thank you for that. Yes.
Absolutely.
And
This
of course,
was-
the young bands and the bands that came after, you know, are because of this. So
This was sent to me. A bunch of these were sent to me by Scotty Bone from 1992 in Germany. And then, you know, a couple Ship's Cats asking, I saw the Lunachicks at the Marquee in London. Was 1992 the first time you went over there?
No, we were over there before that. And this, I mean, this, I can smell that picture.
Yeah, wait, there's other ones. Wait, I got a couple others that are pretty smelly too. Wait.
We were touring heavily in the early 90s and mostly in Europe. We were touring more in Europe than in America. We were all over Europe. We were all over Scandinavia. I think, yeah, that's the same show. Same smelly clothes. Oh.
What is that? What is that you're playing? Is that a Charvel Strat? What is that?
No, it's a G&L Telecaster, and I
you still have that?
I still have it.
Wow,
I still play it.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was a good guitar. It is a good guitar.
yeah.
It has seen a lot of stuff.
I have. Let me see. I got
else
another
you
one. Another
You know,
one.
I also liked the whole mentality of, you know, girls to the front and taking care of, you know, women that you saw in the crowd, maybe getting pushed around or mishandled or flat out molested there, you know.
So much of that. I mean, I had been the girl being groped in the audience for years. You know, I remember being at a Cramps show and I was wearing a dress and there was all this pushing and pushing and pushing. And at one point, like, my whole dress was wrapped around my mid, like there was,
Wow.
it was bad. It was bad.
Wow.
It was nasty. There was always somebody grinding into your ass.
Yeah.
And,
Ew.
yeah, it was really nasty. So, but you learn how to, you know, I mean, I love a good excuse to elbow somebody in the whatever part, you know. I mean, I was able to handle it, and I think a lot of women did take matters into their own hands and take care of themselves, but you shouldn't have to. Yeah, you shouldn't have to. And when I see women now jump off the stage and be passed around on people's hands and come back with their clothes on and come back without having like somebody's thumb up their ass.
It's progress.
It really is. And it makes me happy.
Yeah, me too. Yep, it's progress.
Glad to hear there is some progress in this wretched world. Anthony B asks, what are some of Sindi's memories playing at the Reading Festival in 1992? That must have been such a blast.
Okay, well, there's not a ton of memories because there is a photo of me with a quart of Smirnoff in my hand.
Oof.
But I do have some memories. I remember that it was definitely totally muddy. I remember that it was a lot of fun. And I remember that there was that ABBA cover band played. I think that might be all of my memories. I remember that it was fun because we weren't out there in the crowd, but I could go out and walk around in the crowd. I'm sorry, Anthony. I don't really have a lot of memories of playing that show, but I'm sure it was a blast. And yeah, it was definitely a blast.
Do you still have your original Guild guitar from like 1982? I still have mine, cracked and glued neck and all. I think we bought the same. Thea?
I do not have.
Do you know what she's talking about?
Yeah, my first guitar. I think Tommy Kennedy ended up with it, and then I don't know where it went after that because he had it. Tommy Kennedy had it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So how does Lunachicks go on sort of a I know you toured with the Dictators too. That must have been fun.
That was fun, and I did have a lot of memories from that. That was really fun.
Okay.
Because I was a huge Dictators fan.
Because that could go either way.
Well, but it went the right way, and we were sort of on equal level, but we had different fan base, so we both bands brought in a lot of people, and they weren't the same people, and we actually got along with them great on tour.
Was that in the States or was that in Europe?
Yeah, that was across the country. That was, I think, it was from California to. I remember playing San Diego. I remember playing the Mason Drive. I have a lot of photos from that tour, so the memories are a little bit fresher.
Photos are good for memories.
Photos are really good, but I have at least an entire roll of film from that tour. So I have like photos from San Francisco, and I have photos from Phoenix, Arizona, and so I can puzzle it together a little bit from that tour.
Wow.
Yeah.
But we did a lot of really great support tours. Like the Dictators, we toured with Rancid, we toured with the Offspring. The first Offspring tour, they were opening for us.
Wow.
Yeah. And then of course we were opening for them in arenas. We toured with Reverend Horton Heat. We toured with Dinosaur Jr. We toured with NoFX and Snuff. That was a lot already. I'm sure there's more that I'm forgetting. But yeah, we did a lot of really, really good tours.
Yeah.
Didn't just sort of kicking the can, just sort of moving it down the timeline. Didn't you guys? Didn't Mike from NoFX produce or co-produce like the last record that you were involved in? He produced. Could you walk us through that a little bit?
He produced Pretty Ugly, which I was happy to have him along because I thought I liked the way he did music, and I was happy to have him as producer. So we went out to California, to San Francisco for 3 weeks, and we stayed in the apartment above the studio, and we just banged out that record. And it was mostly, from my point of view, it was great being in the studio with him. I know not everybody had the same feeling. He brought out a different side of Theo's voice that not everybody was such a fan of. It was more singy and less growly. But I think that Theo's singing voice is great when it's singy and when it's growly. So I didn't have a problem with it. The songs were really good. The mixes are good. I think it's a really good album. And
wow.
Yeah, I agree.
In the studio with him, and he was still relatively normal guy at that point in time. So being in the studio with him wasn't even weird. You know, it was just like being in the studio with a guy who produces records.
Makes sense.
Right.
Go ahead.
No, did you want to go?
No.
Okay.
You guys have something to say about it? What's your opinion about it?
I think it's a great record, actually. Yeah. So I would agree. You know.
Do you think it's well produced?
I do.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah. I think it's really I like it. It's listenable.
Yeah.
It is very listenable, which maybe some people didn't expect from us, is to have a listenable record, because we had a couple of really unlistenable records.
Yeah.
So
and I always think it's good to see a different facet of a band. It's not the worst thing that when a band comes out with something a little bit different, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it was even really that different. Our songwriting
it was just the sounds.
But being able to hear everything and I mean, it was better produced, and even Jerk of All Trades was also well produced.
I would say that too.
I think your internet's slowing down a little bit. Your internet's slowing down, Cindy. Let's do this. Let's take this opportunity to take a sponsor break, and let me do a sponsor thing. And Cindy, I'm gonna toss you off and sign back on, because that usually fixes the problem. So I'll see you guys in a minute. Lori, I'll see you in a minute, and let's do some sponsor stuff. We'll come back. We got a couple special guests coming on, and we're gonna go for a little while today. So if you're not in a rush, if you don't have a plane to catch, you've certainly come to the right place. Since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay of the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues, soundtrack, and reggae LPs, as well as t-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Will that be cash or in debt?
Do you mean debit?
Yes. Sorry. Another eternally satisfied customer.
Yo, what's happening? I'm out here at one of our all-ages Sunday matinees on the Bowery. I hope that you are enjoying today's show. I just want to let you know that the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live needs your support. Please step up. There is a Patreon page that has a lot of unique program. Shows are announced there first. Lots of good stuff. There's a PayPal address right there on the screen if you want to make a contribution. There's also a super chat function. You can do that, but the bottom line is this show exists because of your support. We're going to be doing it for a long, long time. Thank you for all your support through the years. Back to the show.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies. Decipher fiction from the truth, society's slow and tragic demise. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Everyone's got their fucking opinion.
And we're back. Sorry, the internet's acting weird. It's a little weird because it's 300 degrees here in New York City. So things start acting weird in the extreme heat or the extreme cold, but mostly the extreme heat. Hey, want to talk to you about some our upcoming shows. A week from today, there will be no show on Sunday because we'll be down at the Bowery Electric, but we will talk about this in a bit. 1 week from today, Greg Jacobs, author, Hell on Wheels, Tour Stories, Remembered, Remixed, and Remastered, will be on the show. That is 1 week from today. A couple days after that, by popular demand, co-hosted by Howie Abrams, Tommy Carroll from Straight Ahead, New York City Mayhem, and Youth of Today. And yes, we will be asking about the Kirk Hammett incident. Sunday, July 27th, Get Your Satan On. Steve from Deicide will be on the show. Wednesday, August 6th, Get Your Astoria Queens on. Demi from Crown of Thorns, Still Suit, Scarhead, Homicidal, and Smoke AD will be on the show. Wednesday, August 13th, Get Your DC Hardcore on. Alec Mackay, brother of Ian, will be on the show. Of course, he was in The Untouchables, The Faith, Ignition, The Warmers, and currently Hammered Hulls. Sunday, August 17th, Get Your Long Island Hardcore on. Tim Williams from VOD will be on the show. Sunday, August 24th, Get Your Staten Island on. Johnny Eggs of Sheer Terror, current owner of Pug's Saloon in Staten Island, will be on the show. Wednesday, September 3rd, this is something a little bit different. I like doing things a little bit different every now and then, mixing it up. Mike Davenport from the Ataris will be on the show. So how cool is that? Want to thank all the patrons out there. Thank you for supporting the show. The show could not exist without you. Those that are lurking out there, please come in from the shadows. Support this show. Nobody's getting rich here, but the show needs your support to survive. www.patreon.com/Drew Stone. Get up, get out, make it happen. Want to shout out our latest patron, Bad Spomer. Welcome aboard. There's also a PayPal address there, and there is a super chat function. If you have a question for our guest or in general, do a super chat thing for a couple bucks. It comes through in color. I can't miss it. Also, if you're watching the show in rerun on YouTube, there is a subscribe button right there. Subscribe to the Stone Films NYC YouTube channel, which, by the way, we just reached the landmark 20,000 subscribers on the Stone Films NYC YouTube channel, which has been around for 10 years now. So it's a big landmark. 20,000 subscribers is nothing to sneeze at. So thank you all for supporting the show and subscribing to the YouTube channel. Also, please right now, if it's not too much hassle, reach over, give the show a thumbs up or a like or a heart so we can get in the algorithm. Yo, I'm in the algorithm. So that said, what else? Okay, very good. I think we covered everything. Let's continue on our way. Let's continue on our journey. Let's hope. Lori Dawn, you okay?
I'm okay. I'm fine. I'm good.
And let's bring back on Sindi, and let's see How's the internet over? Hey, you're back.
Hey, okay, it's good.
I don't get flustered anymore about anything. It's like I used to like freak out and about. Oh, now I'm like whatever.
I didn't even notice that I was missing or that I was whatever happened.
No, it was just getting choppy. It was getting choppy.
I had a chance to go back and glance at some of the chats
Comments?
here, some of the messages, and shout out to Larry Kelly for his hilarious comment, which I won't repeat, but that's a funny guy right there.
I didn't see it.
Now we're gonna have to go back
all the way up.
Oh wait. Oh, I see it now.
But no comment.
Oh, no comment. Can I ask the question and then can you say no comment?
Okay, sure.
Larry Kelly asks, just got here. Yeah, you have plenty of stuff for a book. Tell the story about the time Eric Clapton's brother stole that gram of hash from you.
No comment.
Those are some of the
I didn't even know Eric Clapton. I didn't even know Eric Clapton had a fucking brother. So there you go. So let's get past this chapter of our youth.
Yes. So it was fun and then it wasn't.
Yeah, it was fun and then it wasn't, and it wasn't. In your own words, the way that you want to remember it, how did it play out? Why did you move on?
Differences in goals and priorities, and the lack of fun, and I wanted to have fun, and if the fun wasn't going to be prioritized, I didn't really want to do it anymore. And that's a really general sort of way to sum it up. Was there was differences in what was the most important aspect of this band, and who wants what and who's going to fight for it. And I didn't really have any fight in me on there. Thank you, Anthony.
That makes sense.
And again, and I think that speaks a lot to the integrity of, it's like, listen, if I'm not having fun, I'm out, it doesn't matter what's there and what the potential, whatever it is. If I'm not having fun, I'm out.
I'm not a good faker. Like if I'm not into something or someone or anything, like,
right.
It's right. Written all over my face, and I'm going to have to move on.
Yeah.
Bands are a complicated dichotomy a lot of the times. It's like
10 years was a long run.
What's that?
10 years was a long run.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, band relationships, the different bands, it's complicated. Some bands, stick together because it's how they pay their rent and bills. Some bands stick together because they love each other. Some bands stick together because of what or not.
No.
Yeah, it's real.
Identity.
Yeah,
I've been around more than a couple of bands that the only reason they're still playing is because it's all they know how to do, and it's the only way they can pay their bills. And they really don't fucking like each other,
Yeah.
I've been around a lot of that.
Can't even pay their bills that way. Some of
What's
them
that?
Some of them can't even pay their some of them aren't doing it because it pays the bill. Some of them are doing it because they don't know what to do without it.
That's right.
And they don't have you have to get your own personal identity back after you've been in a band. And that's the hardest part, is becoming an individual again. And
how did you do that?
It took me a couple of years, and it was hard. And I struggled. But what are you gonna do? What am I gonna do? I gotta find my way out of it and get myself back. Have a very strong sense of self, and I just had to find it again, and then let the rest of the world know that I am now an individual again. That's one of the most grueling parts of it, is like, oh, when are you guys going on tour again? Like, I'm not. You know, when's I'll see you at that gig. No, you won't see me at the gig. Like, that's hard.
Yeah.
And then starting to get used to going to shows again. Sorry. Because when you're in a band that plays all the time, you don't really want to go to shows unless you're playing because it's work.
Right.
So I had to find my way. Then I had to go to a show and pay to get in and pay for drinks and start from the bottom again. You know, it's fine. It's all doable.
Live like a civilian, like the rest of us.
Well, we're so glad you came back around into our world. Like, you know, we're so.
And all the amazing things that you're doing now. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing with Sojourn Radio.
Sojourn Radio. Yeah, so we have this internet radio station with my friends Allison and Paul. And I have some radio shows, and maybe one day Lori Dawn is also going to have a radio show.
Women of the
Pit. Yes, Women of the Pit radio show is coming.
Yes, stay tuned.
And it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, free. Just got to log on to sojournradio.com and press play, and you can hear great music anytime for free.
Now it is free, but can people donate?
Donate?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna put some merch up for sale, but God, that's a Lori, that's a fantastic input.
How about a little donate button?
You know, just as a reference, you can put a little donate button on it, and people
that's also free.
Donate.
That's brilliant. I love it. You know,
listen, you don't necessarily have to do what I do, which is basically threaten people to join Patreon and support your art, or else you'll come to their house, throw their kids in the river, and burn their house down. You don't have to do it like I do it.
We do it the old-fashioned way. We shame people here.
Okay, let me tell you something.
Giving us $2 a month.
Fucking support this show, motherfucker. I swear to God.
Your wife. You offer extra content or something, right? I've seen this happen before.
Yes. But just a simple donate button, you know, because I've actually listened to the radio station. I love it. It's a beautiful mix of music. It's really a lot of fun. And tell us a little bit about your shows, because your shows are great.
So I've got two shows. One is a weekly show that's Wednesdays, plays at 12 and 7, and it is new music and more unknown underground music, all punk and punk adjacent, garage punk.
Yep.
And I am always searching, always looking. Bands, hit me up on Instagram. I want to know that you put a new record out. I'm not guaranteeing that I will play it, but I sure as hell will listen to it. And if I like it, I will play it. So please, I spend a lot of time searching for music. If you have something and you think I might like it, let me know. Find me on Instagram.
Yeah.
There it is right there. There it is right there on the bottom. On Instagram at DJ_Sindi_Halfrats. You heard it right there. Even if your band sucks, send your music to Sindi.
Give it a shot. Give it a shot. You never know.
You never know. And, you know, catch me on the right day.
She seems to like my band, and we suck.
I think I'm just going to start a sucky band just to send her a tape. Honestly.
Yeah, there it is. There it is right there, Anthony. Is there a way to somehow send in songs for Cindy's radio show for her to play them on her show like request? Yep. Yes. Funny you should ask that, Anthony. It's right there scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Instagram at DJ_Cindy_Halfrats. Get up, get out, make it happen.
Yeah.
Anthony, I'm going to address this one. So I don't take requests. I do play on that show, Fresh Cuts. I play music from the last 12 months. And so if I like it and it's come out in the past year, I'm happy to play it. And my other show is called My World, and that is a monthly show, and it plays on Sundays. And each month I go to a different country or region and play only bands from that country or region. This month just started with Mexico. Last month was Japan. And I find music that is not only current music, that can be from any time.
That's awesome.
And I find a lot of really great bands too. And some of them are happening now, and some of them were over 20 years ago. But it's really a good way to get acquainted with music from around the world.
Yep. And I like it because I find bands for Women of the Pit. So I love it. I've discovered a lot of great music through both of your programs. So highly recommend.
Great.
So yeah, I really love it.
Oh, that's
Other out there.
And I just love radio. I miss radio, you know? So
I think that's how Allison and Paul, they started this radio station because they also missed radio. And radio should be something that you can turn on and hear good music. And it hasn't been for a really long time. I mean, radio became really horrible. You know, I think, I mean, aside from WFMU, there was, after Tim Summer and WNY, what was that? WNYU, Tim Summer, Noise the Show.
Noise the Show,
right.
yeah.
That was like, I mean, you know, I should have mentioned him anyway, because he was really instrumental for me in those early days of me getting into punk rock to find new music. Yeah. You know, college radio was great, but it's not widely, well, maybe it is now. Maybe it's easier to get now, but
yeah.
Internet radio is great because it plays worldwide. And
yeah, I like radio too because of the unpredictability of it. Yeah. If you're just listening to your playlist on your streaming thing, it's only going to really play you things that like you've chosen. But like the unpredictability of like the excitement of hearing a song that is just completely out of left field and you fall in love with is just, you know, I feel like it's kind of lost on this generation, you know? So
talking about having fun and you're playing music again. Could you tell us about this endeavor?
Yeah, well, so this is Corporate Plants, and this is, unfortunately, because it's a great band, but it's not a real full-time band.
The Otto's thing was a one and done?
Well, not necessarily a one and done, but like it's going to be a couple of times a year maximum. David, the other guitar player and songwriter, lives in the UK.
Okay.
So there's our sticking point. We did record a 5-song EP. The thing is, we learned the songs. David came into town for 2 weeks. We had a couple of practices. We went into to Flux Magnetic Studios and recorded 5-song EP. We played the gig and he got on a plane and went back to the UK. So that was the glory of Corporate Plants. We are planning to do another show around Christmas. And, you know, let's see what happens. If somebody picks up that EP and thinks we're the greatest thing in the world, maybe we'll get some more action. But
it's great. I hope I can make the next show.
Me too.
I know. So I'm so excited about this. So, and you know, I watched a little bit of video on YouTube. I think Steven put it up. He has a song up on YouTube so people can see that and get an idea of the music.
Some on Sojourn Radio YouTube channel.
Yes. Oh, okay.
Radio also has a YouTube channel. People, if you want to see the bands that we have playing at our what's that? We have shows quarterly at Otto's, as you can see on the banner in that photo.
You looked fantastic out there. I was watching your hand, like just like a blur with those downstrokes. You looked great. And now, was there like, did you continuously play guitar throughout the time, or was it in the closet? Because you look like you did not
in the closet for
really?
a long time.
Okay, because your playing was.
Oh man, I'm so out of practice, but it's in there, and it's really nice to have it coming back.
Still got that muscle memory, I guess. Yeah.
Memory.
Hey, I just put it out there. Lori, we invited Sindi to, when we do the My War thing for the Women of the Pit coat drive in December. Cindy's going to come up and play some songs with us for the next My War thing. It'll be fun. She's like, what songs? She's like, what songs? I'm like, well, I don't know. What do you like? We play anything. We don't
Whatever.
Whatever.
Awesome.
Blitzkrieg Bop.
Yeah, you want to do Blitz? Like Frank Zappa used to say, like, what do you do really good? You know, like, which one do you do really good? We'll do that one. You know.
I like to play fast. I always like to play fast.
But there was a time where you just weren't playing at all.
A very long time. You know, I was really, I don't know if bitter is the right word, but I was really.
Sounds like it is.
Let's say you were healing. You were healing.
Yeah, I was really. The whole idea of it was just like, I don't want, and you know, I never stopped listening to music passionately, but the idea of being in a band was horrifying to me.
Yeah.
Like I had PTSD or something for a really long time.
You were traumatized.
Yeah, I mean, it's like when you get out of a bad marriage, you don't want to jump into dating again. It's like that's the last.
Sure,
thing.
you do. Sure, you do. You get married again. That's the bad. You jump right out. You get married again. What are you talking about?
You know, everybody has their own healing process, and in mine, I just didn't think that I would. And then I moved to Germany for quite a long time, and where I was living, which I don't want to talk about at length, but where I was living in Germany, it was not a good place to meet people to play music with. Okay. And I had to travel to see shows, with the exception of the 2 times that Agnostic Front came through town, and Agnostic Front, Sheer Terror,
wow,
the Turbo ACs,
nice,
you know, UK Subs. I had some friends roll through town on occasion, but mostly I had to get on a train and go somewhere if I wanted to see a band, and there wasn't anybody for me to play with. There wasn't any place for me to DJ. Like, I wanted to get back into DJing, because after Lunachicks, after I left Lunachicks, I started DJing in clubs and in bars, and I loved it. And I thought, okay, this is how I want to shove my musical taste down people's throats. Like, not by being in band, but by DJing. Yep. And so then I wanted to do that in Germany, but there was no opportunity for me.
Okay.
Have you seen your hardcore trading card?
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
Hardcore trading cards are cool.
Yeah, you got that. Yeah, I got one I got mine in the back.
I'm sure you have at least one.
And now with the DJ, you're also promoting some shows as well, right?
Yeah, so we do a quarterly Sojourn Radio Presents.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the last Corporate Plants show was, the Corporate Plants show. So, yeah, we take some of the bands that we play on the show and invite them down to play a live show. I've put on some other shows that aren't related to the radio station. It remains to be seen if I'm going to continue trying to put shows on. Being a promoter is a thankless,
exhausting. I can tell you, I do not have the constitution for it. I just don't.
Yeah.
I feel like, just tell me where the show is and I'll show up with, snacks.
Yeah. Well, I'm good at it and I can do it really well. I just would like to be funded. And that's the part where it gets really painful.
Donate button.
I got no problem working for free now and then.
Yeah.
I've done it a lot in my life.
Yeah.
But I don't want to lose money.
Right. And you also want to be able to throw the bands some money too.
Well, that's the thing. That's where you lose money, because I'm not going to not pay bands that are playing a show where I'm charging admission.
Right. Yeah.
Well, you're entering into me and Larry Kelly's world now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
yeah,
tough. It's very tough to navigate that terrain. It's like you're charging admission. That's part of the reason why we keep our shows free. Yeah. It's like, you want to play a free show, you're going to play in front of a lot of people. If people donate and we get a sponsor, that's great for everybody. But you got to. It's a tough terrain to navigate. Sometimes. But obviously we figured it out. You have figured it out. You guys have set the bar really high for you've shown how to do it right. You and Larry, you do it beautifully. It's butter. It's gorgeous. Well, part of the reason is because you're a part of it. Lori's a part of it, and so many other people, are a part of it. So it's great. And Larry Kelly chimes in and says, honestly, it's totally worth it.
Yeah. You feel like you're doing something good,
Anthony B asks, is there a way anyone can purchase any Sojourn Radio merch anywhere?
We are going to put it up on the Sojourn Radio website. I'm gonna text her as soon as I'm done with this.
Yes.
She's been talking about it for months. I'm gonna text her. It's great design, great t-shirts.
Yep. Make it happen.
Yep, and we'll remind people.
Hey, it's Wednesday. Let's bring a guest on. Let's you don't have to catch a plane or anything, do you, Sindi?
No, I'm in. I'm not going outside again.
I'm never going. Listen, I'm never going outside. I'm never going in the ocean, and I'm never going in the forest. Larry Kelly's going to pick me up. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go down the stairs, outside under the vestibule, and into his van, and then I'm going to the Bowery Electric on Sunday. I'm going to go inside the Bowery Electric, and I'm not going to come out of there. I'm going to introduce a couple bands, and then that's it. I'm not.
Hopefully the AC will be on full blast.
I'm going to be like the Howard Hughes of hardcore. I'm like, not going to come out. But you'll see me a lot, but I'm never going outside. Anyway, let's bring on. Let's welcome back a friend and supporter of the show, coming at us from Rockland County, New York, the front woman of the band that is not hardcore, not metal, not crossover, but 100% Fugit, New York hardcore OG, Mimi Fugit. What's up?
Surprise! Surprise!
Let me arrange everybody like the Brady Bunch. Hold on. Yeah. How you doing?
Great. Surprise.
I know. It's a shock.
You ever see the young ones?
I'm so glad we
knew that already, and we don't care. So where's the surprise?
The young ones was really funny, actually. The young ones was funny. It was really funny.
It was a good one.
Yeah.
Yes. Loved it.
Hey you, are you excited to be playing?
I'm so excited.
Tell us about it.
I cannot believe that I'm playing on the Bowery, number one. Like after 40 years of, being part of the scene and seeing bands down there, and just like never in a million years did I think at my age I would finally be fronting a band and playing this great show. So thank you, Drew, for that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're excited that
I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun. It's going to be a fun show.
I can't wait.
Yeah, it'll be great. And speaking of back in the day, what's going on here? with the I like the snarl. Is that the Rockland County? Is that the infamous Rockland County snarl?
Yes, and that was called the Wall. That was my high school. That was called the Wall. All the cool people hung out at the Wall. Paul is going to kill me. This picture is being posted publicly. That's my bass player Dank. Everybody knows Dank, right? That's his fiance who I introduced.
Oh wow, you go that far back with
yes.
Wow.
And, yeah.
And here's another one with your what's the ex-husband?
Yes, this is actually taken from Randy Underwood's book.
Oh.
Yes, this is a picture from his book. This was at the Ritz. I think it was the Cro-Mags that were playing that night. Yeah, I love this picture. I love this picture too.
You and your
ex-husband,
Rob Kabula.
My ex-husband, my very good friend.
You're very good. Yeah, you guys are still close.
Yes, we are. Very.
And you managed to have a son that somehow exactly replicates
Exactly.
Rob Kabula.
I know. I was just the incubator. I tell everybody I was just the incubator.
Yeah.
There's nothing of me in him. That's it. But yes, we have 2 children together, actually. And
you know what's crazy? I've told you this story, and it's really funny. It's like a bunch of years ago, I was up in Nyack, and I was with my godfather, actually, who's in the film business, and we went to go eat something. We go into this deli, and there's Rob Kabula. Right?
At age 20.
At age 20. And I'm like really confused. I'm really confused because there's Kabula and he's 20 years old, but I'm like in my 50s now. And I'm like, I'm really confused by this. And I'm like, Kabula? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, what the fuck?
I know, it's scary, right?
Yeah.
It's like a Twilight Zone episode, the two of them.
Do I have that? I gotta see if I have that picture. It is.
Yeah.
I call him young Kabula.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you saw him at the airport recently.
Yeah, we saw him at the airport recently. Yeah. Yeah, I saw him at the airport, not even in New York. We were in another state.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Drew Stone. I'm like, fuck. Kabula. So, we were doing like cool show and tell pictures, and you sent me a couple pictures from back, and now this is one I've had for a while, but this is Murphy's Law with Harley Flanagan playing drums at the Rock Hotel, right?
Yes. You see Harley Flanagan and I see Joe Bruno. We're different, Drew.
Yeah.
We're different. I see Joe Bruno. I love Joe Bruno so much. Oh my God. I just saw him actually for the first time in 40 years at Eddie's wake, unfortunately.
I think that's Roger sitting on the floor there.
Great. Yes, it is. It is. There's a lot of, I think it's Olivia to the left of him too.
Oh yeah, I think so.
Yes. Listen, there's so many faces like in all these pictures. It's really great.
And then this one I never saw, but apparently at that very same show at the Rock Hotel, Andy Warhol was in the balcony.
Yes. Yes.
And it looks like he has like a camera in his hand too.
Does it? I don't know. I see like you see Don Cowan at the
end. I see Donnie on the left. Yeah. Wow.
And Chris Williamson, yeah.
I see Chris Williamson, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
The infamous.
But yes, there's a story that Doug Holland put on. When I posted that picture, he put like a little comment on there about something about Harley and yelling at Andy Warhol, like calling him something. I don't remember exactly. I wish I was more prepared. I wish I had that comment, but
here's another one.
Yeah, there's Doug.
This is crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's Jimmy. There's my friend.
You know who I see on the far side of the stage? I mean, I think that's Annette that used to book the Rock Hotel. Remember Annette? She worked at Free Being Records.
Free Being.
Yeah. She was. Yes. She married Nobby Bones from Broken Bones, but Annette, God rest her soul, she used to book the shows there.
Yeah, this is, I know I love like trying to find like all the faces. Listen, let's face it, when we were around back then, we see a picture pop up that we've never seen. I mean, the first thing I do is look for myself. Where am I? You know, I mean, everybody wanted to see themselves back then because nobody took pictures.
No.
When you see a picture, you get so excited.
Yeah, it's especially now when things turn up, Cindy, like 40, 45 years later or whatever.
Release the photos.
Yeah. It's like it's something else, but for the crowd shots, you know?
Yes.
I got
Yes,
some
absolutely.
shots too.
Like those London 77 photos that were gifted to me. Like people are losing their mind over those pictures.
Right. Or like, remember all those great, you know, pictures from Dina Douglas that was just sitting in her drawer, her mom's closet or whatever, you know, it was just for years.
Mhm.
So, yes. Scan those photos.
I know a lot of people who are hiding photos right now. I'm telling you.
Did you see your hardcore trading card, Mimi?
No, I did not see it.
How about that?
Woo! Forever. I look like I have like aliens in my throat. Right?
Oh my gosh.
It's a horror movie.
Such a good photo.
Really? Oh God. I never even saw that picture.
Hey, Liz, leave it to Josh. He'll find the most like
Thank you. I don't
weird,
care.
the weirdest, inappropriate, unflattering photo, and he'll use it for a card.
I don't even think that's not
You know
it's
what?
a beautiful
I'm still
photo.
honored. I'm still not worthy, Josh. Thank you. That was really nice.
And here's the back of the card. There you go.
Woo.
Fun fact, Mimi's been singing on stage since she was about 5 years old, and she is often asked to perform her rendition of At Last by Etta James at weddings. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, I've seen
I
it.
posted a couple of videos of that.
She has,
You know that was Roger Murray's wedding song, you know, just so you know that.
Hey, you know what? I'm inspired. You know what? For my war in December, I think we're going to have to do that.
At last?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yep.
It'll be the romance song.
yes. That's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
Except for the picture on the front.
Now, who's in Fugit? Let me so there's a couple pictures, right? Well, first let's start with this. I think this is you when you did the Leeway set at This Is Hardcore, is that right?
Oh yes, this is the Leeway thing. Yeah. That was I gotta say, can I talk about I want to talk about the tribute shows leading up to this.
Okay.
With Eddie. Okay. So Dory, my friend Dory, I had Dory who put on a lot of shows over the years. Dory and Dank, the bass player in my band, who was also touring with Eddie for many years with Leeway NYHC and the Eddie Leeway show, I think. They went to see Eddie before he passed. And Dory asked Eddie, she said, "What do you need right now?" And he said, "Well, I need some Adidas jogging suits, you know," literally. And she's like, "No, what do you need? Do you want a show? Like, can I put on a show for you?" And she did go get the jogging suits for him, but unfortunately, you know, she didn't get him back to him because he passed like very quickly after that, unfortunately. But she said, "Do you want me to put on a show?" And Eddie said to her, "You know, I'm surprised that nobody has put on a show for me yet." He said, "Put something out there. Don't go out and ask bands." He goes, "Just put it out there. I want to see who bites. I want to see who, you know, says they want to be part of it."
I want to put it out there.
Exactly.
I want to see who bites.
Yes, exactly. That's the way he said it. And
Listen, you know what? You know what with these motherfuckers? Put it out there. Let's see who bites. Because you know what? We'll see.
Yeah. 100%. And that's what she did.
Got to give it to Eddie. Got to give it to Eddie. He smoked until the end.
Yeah. And you know what? He knew everybody that was going to be part of that show at Debonair. And
I'm glad we were part of it.
We saw the lineup. We were, we were trying to figure out how to get him like on a big screen to be there virtually. Like he was supposed to be there virtually for that show.
Yeah. Yep.
Thank you, Dory. Yes.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, that didn't happen, but, and that was a whole different, the emotions and then them building, putting together the tribute video with the screen. I don't know if you saw, Drew, like before the show, like we had like interviews and Dory had, all these videos she put together, and she put countless hours into that. And, and then Jimmy Ferrari put together that awesome show too.
Mm-hmm. I actually did a song there too. Yeah,
which you did there too. Yes, exactly. And that's where I did the show with the Damn Your Eyes guys, also the Leeway NYHC guys. Artie, I love you, Artie, and Odie, I love them, and Mike and Maddie Pasta. And
is this from the which show
Lucky
is this?
13.
Is this the Philly show?
That's Philly, yeah.
Got it.
Listen, that was very emotional that time leading up to the show. I'm telling you, like I don't want to sound freakish or whatever. I literally felt such a huge connection to Eddie during that time leading up to that show. I felt like I was taught. I told his sisters. I mean, his sister, his family's so beautiful. They actually all look like him. I met them at the Debonair show, and then they were also at the Lucky 13 show. But I swear to you, I had a conversation with Eddie up until the This Is Hardcore show, and all Eddie wanted to do was make it to This Is Hardcore. And unfortunately, he didn't make it to that. But I swear to you, I felt such a strong connection with him. I know I don't want to sound like crazy. I swear to you, I don't talk to people who have passed. I'm not a religious person. I'm telling you, like I cried for weeks leading up to that. I cried on the way down. I cried on the way home. And then when I got home, I cried. I actually left This Is Hardcore. I went back to my hotel room and cried.
Houston, we have a crier.
And no, but I don't cry. I'm telling you, I don't cry. But after when I got home, I never felt it again. And I do feel like he went to go have peace, and that was it. And that's my, Artie really loved him, man. Artie, he lived with Artie. He lived with Artie, and Artie really loved him. Yes.
That said, I need to take a break. I need to shout out some sponsors, and then I want to bring another guest on to talk about this book that just came out. So, are you guys going to hang out? Can you hang out? Will you hang out?
Yes.
Sindi? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
I wish I had a Twizzler. I wish you could hand me a Twizzler.
Sindi, can I have one?
I want a Twizzler.
I got enough for everybody.
I was there. Yeah.
I hope you brought enough for everybody.
I always do.
That's for sure. All right, I'll see you guys. See you guys in a couple minutes.
All right.
Boom, boom, boom. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. We are sponsored by blah, 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 and 126 Hardcore Clothing. They're a streetwear brand for restless individuals who don't compromise. They're about being positive, spontaneous, and true to yourself. For years, they experimented with several printing methods and materials and collaborated with a large number of designers and illustrators, always giving room for fresh perspectives while retaining the hardcore attitude. Get in touch with them. Ramp up your game at www.126clothing.com. Come on now, Mad Vintage buys, sells, and collects band shirts, primarily hardcore. The DIY operation was started and is operated by a hardcore kid who just loves collecting and eventually got into vintage clothing, specifically the realm of vintage band shirts. They're always looking to buy out collections to either keep, sell, or trade. New shirts added daily at www.madvintage.com and posted on Instagram. Dig deep into that closet of crapola and reach out to them. Help me help you, Mad Vintage. Yes, it's true. Connecticut represent. Candle Witch Co. is a female-owned entrepreneur business based out of Connecticut. Owner Rachel King Key's handcraft soy wax candles set with intentions for your sanctuaries. She has accomplished a life goal dream since beauty school, debuting her artist showcase Hotties and Hellions that features live bands, burlesque, sideshow acts, vendors, food trucks, and this year, a live auction with all proceeds going to the mental health program Punk Rock Saves Lives. Catch her in the tri-state area doing her thing, slinging candles at events, and keep an eye out for her show coming to New York in the spring of 2026. You can find her on Etsy and on Instagram at Candle Witch Co. Last but not least, come on now, Joe Romini. The Texas Silver Rush is a jewelry designed for a boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, and as well to style them for stage, album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Greg Roulet, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. Information on online sales will be taken at their Facebook and Instagram page, and of course, www.thetexassilverrush.com. Just a reminder, there is no show on Sunday because we're going to be down at the Free All Ages Sunday Matinee at the Bowery Electric. You heard? Fury of 5, Shoot the 5, The Long Wait, Jerry Body, Fugit, DJ Sid the Kid Sound System, Big Birthday Bash. Come on down. It's going to be great. Saturday, July 19th, out, speaking of Johnny Eggs and Mother Pugs, out in Staten Island, Stigma, Incendiary Device, Mutant, The Blame, The Sling Blades, and Idiot Box. It is free. It is not all ages, but it is free. Come on, come through. Sunday, August 3rd, Crazy Eddie's final show at the Bowery Electric with a host of others. Yo, ID is playing the Upstage Music Fest in Pennsylvania on August 9th with E-Town, Concrete, Sworn Enemy, Mephistopheles, and Brick by Brick. Saturday, August 31st, Demise, Nailed to the Cross, Cropsey, Jackknife Johnny, Concrete Burial. September 14th, 24/7 Spies. October 10th, Incendiary Device. Yo, we're going to be in San Francisco at Crash Fest. Saturday, October 18th, we're playing with GBH and others if you are out in the Bay Area. Holiday Slamboree is December 14th. We have spoken about that. That said, let's bring our guests back on. We're going to take some questions pretty soon, so get your questions ready. Was that Mil Mascaris? You know, is that Mil Mascaris? I think it is, with the M on his mask. The one, the only Lucha Libre Mexican wrestling legend, Mil Mascaris. That said, let's bring on Lori Dawn.
That was a good catch. Good wrestling catch.
People pay attention.
Yeah.
People pay attention to the show.
We need to do a wrestling show.
People are into wrestling, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
So
got
the kids over at Leg Drop Productions, and they do wrestling and hardcore. It's cool.
Wrestling. Hey, you want to know something interesting? This show, bing, 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 bing. This show, the Upstage Music Fest, is a 3-day event. The first day is wrestling.
Yep.
The first night's wrestling. The second is the Leonard Skinner tribute band. Yeah. And the third day is the hardcore metal stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's really great with what they've got going on out there.
Yeah. I'm showing up to see the Leonard Skinner tribute band. Yep.
And we're sponsoring that. So I wish I could make the drive out, but
maybe you can.
I think it's about 9 hours.
Get in the van.
Get in the van.
Get in the van. Don't be a wuss. Get in the van with Larry Kelly. Come on. You can piss in a bottle and shit in a bucket. You think you're hard? You think you're hard? Get in a van with Larry Kelly.
I'm a luxury bus type of person. I'm not a road dog.
We'll bring you get your own sleeping bag. You can sleep in the van in the sweltering heat.
Yep.
You don't have to shower.
No.
I mean,
You have to shower.
you don't.
What would you have to do that for?
Speaking of showering,
What do you mean? You have to shower? But you know what? I was just thinking about.
how about you?
I was just
Showering.
thinking about a picture of me outside the AF bus in Amsterdam.
I'm a real. I don't know about you, but I'm like a real American. I like shower like
Yes.
5 times.
Now listen, my
I shower
showers
5
there. My
times a day.
showers on that AF tour were sticking my head in a sink, a club sink.
Yeah, I need like luxury when I travel.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna leave home, it has to be good. It has to be something,
I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, at this stage of the game, I start to freak out.
No,
if
I
like,
can't.
I need to have like 3 showers a day. I need to have a lot of sleep. Like
3 showers a day.
yeah.
What
So,
a life.
What?
You're living the life.
yeah.
You got time to shower 3 times in a day. That's a good life.
Believe me, there's a balance. I live in one room with my wife. Believe me, there's a balance.
So,
Anyway, hey, let's meet a new friend, huh?
okay.
Let's welcome a new friend to the show. He was in the hardcore band Hogan's Heroes back in the day, and now as an author has a book out, Punk Rock Family. Please welcome, coming at us from the Garden State of New Jersey, Johnny Miami.
Right.
Hey,
We're-
you're going by Johnny Miami these days, right?
Well, yeah. Well, when we went from Hogan's Heroes to OS 101, we all decided to make stage names. So mine was Johnny Miami.
Okay. Cool. Tell us about this book that you were so kind enough to send me. What was the impetus to the book and what's going on with it? Boom.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that I started back in November. I've been kind of on this journey with my mom, who's suffering from dementia. So I've kind of committed the last 2.5 years of my life to her, taking care of her. And on that journey with her, I was really digging deep inside because, there's really no time for recording or getting out to do shows. And this idea started coming at me about the punk scene, about the hardcore scene, about Eddie, from Leeway, how I met Eddie, and how we all got started meeting one another, just simply by going up and introducing yourself and saying, hey, listen, I thought your band was really awesome, and acknowledging the hard work that they put into what they do. So I wanted to make a book. I was drawing a cartoon character of myself ever since I was a kid. And I thought, well, if I could take that character and I could kind of make all the people that I met on my punk rock journey kind of similar, but make them as close as possible, I could actually be like introducing myself to these people that I've gotten to know. And I wanted to make it interactive where you kind of had to guess the name of the band. And so it was really inspired because I had a lot of downtime, a lot of alone time. And it was really a lot of soul searching to come up with this. And, it took a long time, but I'm happy with it, really happy with it. And there's nothing but positivity behind it. There's no negativity. And it's all about, again, taking the time out just to say thank you for the hard work that you do. Just like what you do, Drew, and everybody else here. Yeah. I mean, even if it was a brief moment that I got to say hello to them and just kind of pay my respects, they gave me the time back. So this was a way of me just kind of honoring them. And unfortunately, as we all are getting older, you know, a lot of these friends are starting to pass. So it's a way for me to kind of honor them and just keep that tradition going. Now that we're all married and becoming even grandparents, we're kind of we could hand this down to our nieces and our nephews and our grandkids and play like this interactive book with them. So these people are never forgotten.
And like I mentioned, you were in the trenches back in the day. You that's you second from the left. With Hogan's Heroes, and you guys were grinding back in the day. You played a lot of shows, and you definitely were part of that sort of Jersey tri-state scene.
Yeah, the Bedlam, the AODs. We were coming in like right after that swing of bands in Jersey, and the Misfits had already kind of come and gone. So we grew up on like Bedlam and Pleased Youth and AOD. And then of course, we were so blessed like back in the 80s to have Agnostic Front come down and play a fire hall here in Toms River. And that was actually the first time I got to meet those guys and talk about highly intimidated. These guys are in fatigues with no shirts and tattoos. And where I live, it's just a completely different spectrum to that. And to see that for the first time was really intimidating. But after watching them play and see how awesome they were, I had to go up and introduce myself and show my appreciation. And that was really the first time that I got to meet Roger and Stigma.
For those, Dory, for those that are asking about where they can pick up the book is available at Rev HQ.
Yeah.
So right, it's Rev HQ is a huge distributor. Just www.revhq.com or whatever. But Rev is distributing it, and pick it up there. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, and also too, like even on my Instagram page, I have it where if like a mom and pop shop wants to give me a call, I'll do definitely, give them a good deal so they can make a couple of bucks themselves. So, I'm willing to do consignment, especially with all the punk rock flea markets going on now. I've got boxes here so I can mail them out.
Good. Once again, the book is Punk Rock Family. It is available at Rev HQ. And want to thank you for stopping by, Johnny, and good luck with the book.
Thank you. And it's nice to meet everyone.
Yes, you too.
Mimi, you did a great job at the shows. Cindy, it's a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I was blown away. You did a fantastic job.
Aww.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Johnny. Keep in touch, Johnny.
I'm getting the book.
Hey, wait a minute before you go.
Sure. Yeah. Oh, wow.
I told you about that.
Let me see what's on that label. Hold on.
Take a picture of it.
Huh. Wow.
I told you I got this.
Hey, you might have to send that to me.
Really?
Well, it's one of those things like a lot of music videos that we did back in the day early on sort of never made it to YouTube. There's a few that me and my brother did that are just like we just anyway.
I will definitely send you a copy.
All right, thanks, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah.
That's great. That's
right.
cute. That's really cool.
Yeah, we're talking about these photos that turn up. It's fucking VH. He told me the story of that VHS. Like, I guess his record label, when he was in Hogan's Heroes, he was on a label, and they wanted to do a music video, so they solicited a show reel from me, and I sent them that. We're talking 1993.
And he still has it.
Yeah.
He still has it.
It's still in good shape. That's the incredible thing. That's still in good shape. So
there's a couple of videos that like we did that like never made it like were never digitized and made it, you know, like Frankie Farrar, who played drums in Guns N' Roses for many, many years. He just left the band. He played in a band called The Beautiful back in the day. And my brother did a video for The Beautiful. They used to play the Limelight. They were part of like the same kind of world. Remember them, Sindi? They were like The Beautiful. They were in that same like Limelight, you know. And my brother, Cat Club, that's right. And my brother did a video for them. And it was a really cool video. My uncle edited it with my brother, and they shot it on one of my father's sets. My father was a commercial director, and there was this. This is interesting. My father did a commercial. They built a set, and you know, my dad did humor dialogue stuff. So the gag was like, it was like a guy on the ledge, like, don't jump, you know, so and so's got a 24-hour sale, you know, like that kind of thing. So they built this set where like there's the window and the ledge, and my brother went in there with The Beautiful and shot a music video on that set. Like they were playing on the ledge and all that. It's like this really cool music video with a lot of production value that was shot on film. And my brother and like it's the lost gem from like the Stone family. And every time I see Frankie, he's like, man, you know,
that's going to be like the take home of this show, you know, like get your stuff scanned, Sindi. It's worth it.
Well, Cindy's going to scan her stuff.
All these examples.
No, Cindy's on the clock now.
Yeah.
And Cindy, any questions you have out there, it's question time. Go deep, get weird. Let's embarrass these women. You know, ask whatever you want. Post your shit now.
I have a question actually for Mimi. I'd like to know a little bit more about Fugit and, you know, who's in the bands, a little bit more about the writing process there.
Yes. So
wait, wait, why don't we do this? And
show a picture.
I'll show a picture and
show a picture.
You don't get into these fucking guys' life stories, but there you go.
There you go.
Definitely not getting into his life story. This guy's a Muppet. Wait. Lori said that I can't come on the show unless I do a dank impersonation.
You gotta do it. Come on.
Read the shirt. he's a Muppet, but we love him.
No, he's the heart and soul of Fugit.
Listen, he's been around for a long time. I told you last time, you got to find that YouTube video of him when he was Warzone's roadie. The Art of Packing Man. It's on the Fugit page. It's the best. It's so entertaining.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about him.
Okay, next up is this guy. Boom, boom, boom. Who's this?
That's Forrest, our amazing drummer, who I introduced to Deb Lowhammer because they lost their drummer, and I said, "You're gonna love my drummer. My drummer from Fugit is gonna come in, and you're gonna love the shit out of him."
And he plays in Deb Lowhammer, right?
Yes, he does, and he also has another band, Return to Darkness, who actually headlined the Metal Fest last year. And they played again. I think they played again this year. Yeah, definitely. But anyway, yes, he's an amazing, amazing drummer. And I was like, I introduced him to Deb Lowhammer because I know he's great, but didn't think about the fact that I might have to like compete. Anyway, so this is Jay.
You know what? I just realized originally I thought that was Billy Milano behind him, but it's not. He plays in Generation Kill, and that's our buddy Rob Dukes behind him. That's back singing in Exodus.
Yes. So Jay is the writer of the band. Jay writes all of our songs. He wrote the catchy "Drop Kick the Clock" that I had to like write my melody to his guitar because it was so freaking good and catchy. I couldn't change it up. You know what I mean? He's just so good. He's so talented, and he's in so many original bands. So we're all competing for Jay's stuff. It's like is this taken? Is this taken? You know, like he'll send it to everybody and we'll all like fight for it, you know, because he's so freaking good. But yes, he's in Generation Kill, and recently Rob Dukes, you know, rejoined Dukes. Oh my God, his voice is sick.
Yeah. I love this band. I love Generation Kill. Yeah.
Yeah. You know something about Generation Kill?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of Generation Kill music in the Alago film.
No, I did not know that.
Yeah, because in doing the Alago film, listen, I'm not going out and licensing Metallica music for the Alago film, you know. And so what we did was we reached out to other bands that we were connected with and who wanted to get their music into the film. And Generation Kill has a bunch of music in the Alago film. It's pretty.
I saw Michael Alago at a Generation Kill show in Brooklyn.
Yeah. He loves them.
Yeah,
you know?
he does.
Fan.
So Jay,
yeah.
Can't say enough about. I mean, and like, you know, we again, like we
tell Jay he got to be at the show at 12:30 on Sunday.
Well, Jay, be at the show on time. I know, Forrest is in Queens. Jay's in Westchester.
Oh wait, no, Forrest plays drums.
Forrest plays drums.
He's got to be. He's got to be there.
Tell Forrest he's got to be there at 12:30.
Forrest will. Jay will be there too.
Because you know, I'm like, you know what my thing is now? Like when people show up late, I throw them off the bill. I'm like into that.
That's gonna happen.
No, I'm like into doing that now. I'm like,
we're professionals.
God damn it! All right, here we go. Sindi Pig Champion asks, most impractical things Sindi wore on stage. Squid said the vinyl cheerleader outfits were so hot she almost passed out.
Yeah, there was a lot of impractical gear and a lot of stuff that didn't breathe. But I do remember definitely that I wore a garbage bag one time, and that was really wicked because I worked up a sweat on those shows, and that was a very non-breathable outfit.
Oh man.
Yeah, garbage bags aren't like known for letting the body breathe.
But I footwear comfortable, like I could, you know, no platforms, but yeah, the garbage bag. I think
I like your red, white, and blue decor that you rocked. That was
a lot of my outfits were children's costumes, and
really?
That was like a parade costume. I had children's Halloween costumes that I sort of modified to get myself into. Sometimes easier than others, but most of my stuff came from the Salvation Army, from the children's department.
That's great.
I know this is a little bit this might be a reunion show, but is that what is that? Is that a Les Paul Jr. you're playing?
That's that's a junior.
Yeah. That's
junior.
like a Johnny that's like a Johnny Thunders special, right?
That's like 96 probably. That's
right.
That was a really cool guitar.
Yeah. Do you still have that?
No, that one's no longer with me. Tragically.
Yeah, I hear you.
There's a lot of photos of it, so that's good.
I had a bass that I tragically sold under extenuating circumstances, and it fucking bums me out, man.
A lot of tragedy mixed with rock and roll. Just laid it.
Larry Kelly says, "Yeah, if you're not at sound check by 1:30, you ain't playing."
Yeah, tell him, Larry. Larry will kick your ass.
Larry tried to stick up for the last band. I was like, "That's it."
Directed towards me. That's all I gotta say.
What's that?
It's better not be directed towards me.
It's not.
It's directed towards the universe.
Do Pete's question.
What's that?
Pete's question. Pete has a question. It's right there.
What's up with the lockdown gig? I see 2 awesome contributors. What does that mean?
Lockdown.
Yeah.
What is that?
What's up with lockdown? What's going on?
Oh, okay. Mimi, what's up with the band Lockdown?
Well, it's a big secret. So we all know Jeff Lombardi is an awesome, awesome songwriter, guitar player. Oh my God, these songs on this new record. And Eric, and I'm not saying last names. I'm just going to say like first names. But Drew, can you cue the picture, the secret picture, the picture?
Which picture?
Oh, I sent you a picture
Okay,
of.
Hold on.
There's a lockdown picture of all of us.
Yeah, I got it.
Secret.
Yeah.
Although you could probably guess who they all are.
It's our promo picture. But yeah, so Jeff.
New super bands.
Jeff wrote these great songs. Him and Nikki wrote these awesome songs. And he initially gave me one song to just look for lockdown in the subject. I did send you a picture.
Okay, I'll go. You talk and I'll go back and back. Go ahead.
So he sent me the initial song that I was just supposed to be a guest on the record. And I came in with a full written song that I wrote at 3 a.m. the night before, because just in case, I wasn't sure like what they had planned for me, but it turned out great. And they ended up asking me to, do another song. And then I was singing on quite a few of them, but I'm slowing down because I'm waiting for Drew to picture, but it doesn't matter.
No, keep going.
There's some great talent. There's great talent on this bill. Seriously, I know you could probably guess who's there just by the little bio there, and maybe even the picture.
Can I take some guesses?
Sure.
Well, I would think that the guy on the bottom left, agnostic front, Leeway, both worlds, the guy who looks kind of Asian, my guess is that would be Pokey.
Whoa, Drew, you win nothing.
You win a Twizzler.
I hope I wasn't inappropriate using that terminology.
No, he's the nicest guy ever.
No, he's fantastic. Oh, and there's homegirl in the middle there. Concrete ties nailed to the cross.
Yep.
Yeah.
She came in and did just like one verse on one of the songs, and that one little verse, I swear to God, like I hear even now, like I listen to it and I'm like, I still get chills every time I hear her come in. It just does not fail.
Oh, and below her, Crumbsuckers, Carnivore, AD, Agros. That is Chuck Lenahan.
Yep.
He was also in the Genitorturers. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing guitarist.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, it was incredible to see. I mean,
I'm very excited about this project. I'm very excited. There's a lot of people in this band.
Is this band going to play out?
Yes. Oh, yeah. We're playing out. There's going to be 10 of us on stage. Well, 9, but yes.
Yeah.
Very, very, very cool.
Very exciting things in the works.
Maybe 10. Maybe 10 if Layla can come and do
it.
Yeah. But yes.
I'm sure she can. I mean, she
was
was recording all day with her own band.
I know, she's busy.
She drove 2 hours out to Long Island.
She did.
Killed it, and then drove home. I mean, she's just incredible. So yeah, she'll be out. She'll be on that stage.
Yep. And when you hear her part come in, you're like, I can't describe it. I can't wait for it to come out. You're gonna love it, Drew.
Good.
It's good. It's heavy.
If you're excited, I'm excited.
I'm excited.
I'm excited too.
Josh, Hardcore Legend Trading Cards says, does Sindi have any cool stories about DJing at the Punk Rock Museum?
Cool stories about it. No, the DJing was kind of uneventful, but it was fun. It was cool to see the museum, to see how many of my friends were represented in there. I took a bunch of pictures. Like there's Harleys all over it. There's Stimulator stuff. there's, there's a lot of New York represented in there. Besides Lunachicks, there's Nausea, and there's Reagan Youth, and it was really nice to see that we had, even though they're out there on the West Coast, the other coast, it was nice to see that we had our representation in there. And it felt good. And it was a nice little reminder of all that we did in New York and that people took notice.
Yeah, it's
I
a
know
nice.
that's not about DJing, but it is about the Punk Rock Museum in general. And I kind of poo-pooed it in the beginning, like,
Me too.
like, oh, yeah, whatever, But then when I was there, I'm like, this is really cool that this is here and that we're represented. We're all represented, and a lot of bands that are represented that people outside of New York don't necessarily know, and people who were not born 11 million years ago also don't necessarily know, and it's nice. It's good. It's a good thing, and I appreciate it.
Well put. I
know you were just there, Drew. You did a tour, didn't you?
I did a tour. We also performed in that Pennywise room. We busted it. It was really, I poo-pooed it too, and they asked me to contribute material like when they were opening, and I was like, nah. Yeah. I'm like, I wasn't down for a punk rock museum in Vegas, but and they tried to get me out there, and it wasn't until we got booked to play punk rock bowling that I connected with them and said, hey, we're coming out there to play. I'd be willing to do a tour. And we set it up, and we screened some of the New York Hardcore Chronicles film to coincide with the tour. And we played that room. And I must say, they treated us really nice, with respect. It was a really enjoyable experience. The museum is done really well. The people were really great, and I'm in touch with them again about going back and doing something with some of the other stuff. And I must say, I poo-pooed them in the beginning, and now I just, say, like, they treated us well, and they have, nice people, very nice. So there's that. Here's a good one, and everyone can answer it. Answer this one. If you had to pick just one musician that inspired you the most to become a performer, who would it be, Sindi?
Well, I can say from a woman that inspired me, it would have been Susie Quattro.
Wow.
There's no question about it. She was my first, another holy shit moment. Like, look, wow. Check her out.
Yep.
That's when she was Leather Tuscadero on Happy.
I was just gonna say that because that was my first exposure to her, and I was obsessed with her.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Like, how? Because she could not be any more awesome than she is.
She was so cool. I had my hair like hers. I want to get her on this show.
Yeah, she's still cool as shit.
She is. I follow her on Instagram, and there's something to be said about women and their endurance and their coolness. I mean, it's ageless. And I never thought I would say that. I was afraid of getting older, but I am not. When you look at people like Susie still rocking it, I'm like, I'm good. I'm fine with my age.
Yeah.
How did Susie Quattro end up on Happy Days?
That's a really good question.
Do you know what I mean? Isn't that kind of weird? Like,
you saw it though, right? Did you see it?
What? How great for her, because that's how a lot lot of us.
Is that the name of her band? Leather and the Suedes? Was that the name of her band?
Leather Tuscadero and the Suedes, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
She was awesome.
That's funny. I'm trying to download that photo that you sent me, Sindi.
Yeah, that's I have a bunch from there, but
how about I think Gary Marshall, who was the creator of Happy Days, saw her. We went into a Happy Days deep dive on the beach the other day. We were like, like we looked up.
Larry answered the question.
What? Oh, Wrinkler was nailing. I doubt it. Come on.
He wishes.
Yeah. You know what we got into on the beach the other day about Happy Days? You know, there was a what's his name? Richie Cunningham had a brother on the show.
Yes. On like the first or second episode, right? And then he just disappeared.
That's right. That was Chuck Cunningham.
Yep.
And there was something. It is something.
Chuck
and we looked
died.
it up.
He died.
No, we looked it up. No, it's called Chuck Cunningham syndrome. It exists. You could look it up. It's when somebody's on one of those shows and then they just disappear. There's never an explanation. There's never anything. It's called the Chuck Cunningham syndrome. And they you could look it up in all the other shows that's happened with, where they had like a character and like the person just fucking disappears, and it's happened on a bunch of shows.
And because like episodes were like a week apart, they just hoped that you would forget.
Yeah.
Or like sometimes the pilot was like 6 months.
There was actually two Chucks. That's right. There was two actors that played, and then they just like sort of like, nah.
You know what? These Chucks aren't working out. Fuck it.
You know what?
Fuck it.
Here you go, Cindy. This is you, and this is our boy right here. This is Louis from Suicidal Tendencies, the original bass player. Louis Seidel. Yeah.
Hanging out at the Punk Rock Museum.
Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, I think he might live in there. I think he spends a lot of time in there.
You know what? We saw him. He's
a good guy.
Yo, good dude. I got to show you. So we saw him, I think, but this wasn't during Punk Rock Bowling, right?
No, this was when I was DJing. I told you he spent a lot of time there.
Because we saw him, I think, that like right around that time, because here he is with me and Tristan. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. Louis good. Louis cool, man. You know, he plays on the first two Suicidal records. How about you, Mimi? What one person inspired you?
I can't think of anybody. I was just thinking to myself.
Come on.
No, there's so many like front men and women that I love. I just can't pick one. But I want to, before we continue, because I totally forgot to mention this. I want to go back to lockdown. Lori Dawn actually contributed to a song, a lockdown song. Like she wrote the lyrics to a lockdown song. And I just want to give her props for that. She's totally influential on one of our songs. Yes.
I was good at rhymes.
Influential on everything. Like she definitely was part of the whole creation of it. So when you hear it, think of Lori.
So Lori, being the incredible performer and proficient songwriter and entertainer that you are, if you had to pick one musician that inspired you to be the most to become a performer, who would it be?
That's so funny. You know what? My earliest influences were Blondie and Pat Benatar.
You can't front on Pat Benatar.
No, Pat Benatar. I know. I got to tell you something. Those songs hit different when you're older and you've been through some shit.
I'd like to get her and her husband on the show.
Yeah.
Neil. Yeah. Oh, these are cool pictures you sent me, Cindy.
Yeah, I'm just sending you one of the New York little tribute there.
You know, you know what? You know what? This is very interesting. In response to that question, is Drew's going to be Al Burrell? And I was thinking about this, and I was actually going to say that I saw a lot of music when I was growing up in New York City, and I saw the Rolling Stones or the Grateful Dead or the Allman Brothers and the Who and a lot of other bands growing up in New York City. And it wasn't until I went to Emerson College in 1981 to study acting, and I went to my first hardcore show, and I saw SSD Control with Al Baril and Springer. That was the first time that I was like, wow, these are kids my age. I was never inspired before that, looking idol worship, looking at a stage at Mick Jagger. But when I saw Al Baril and Springer, who were my age, doing it, that really inspired me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really did. I was like, yo, if these fucking guys can do it, not that, I mean, they were incredible, but that was the electricity that was in the air. It was like everybody. And if you're not gonna start a band, start a fanzine or take photos or you know, it wasn't like male, female, black, white. It was a pretty even playing field back then.
Yeah, I would like to say too that as far as inspiration, like I never looked at anybody and said, "Oh, I want to be them."
Yeah, right.
I saw them and said, "I would like to be me doing what they're doing."
Yeah,
and that, you know, I think a little different, but maybe you feel the same way.
Hey, I want to shout out Zip Ahead Steve, who's been a huge supporter of this show for a long time, man. I can't thank you enough, Steve. Social media wise, and if I know you don't come into the city on that motorcycle, but I will see you out at Indian Larry's block party this year. And I'm sorry we're not playing it, but you know,
I went to that last year. It was amazing.
I was like positioning we wanted to play it, but then, you know, I gotta go, you know, like, you know how it is when you're in a band. My wife, my wife, my job, my kids.
We get so much trouble if I said that right
I don't want
now.
to hear about your kids, man. You want to be in a band with me? You want to be in a band with me? I don't want to hear about your fucking kids, your wife, your job. I don't give a fuck about any of that. We're in a band. It's rock and roll. All that stuff is a distant second.
This is coming from a man who lives in a one-room apartment.
That's why he showers 3 times a day, just to get a little privacy.
Just, you know.
With a witch. I live in one room with a witch.
Oh my goodness.
And God, I love her.
Well,
There's no crying. There's no crying in hardcore. There's no crying in hardcore. You can't.
Josh, change my picture.
Well, I actually find our present company to be quite inspiring because, you know, we are all at an age where we have like adult or near adult kids. Some of us are already grandmothers, you know. So, you know, right. And, you know, we're still going and we're still doing what we want to do. What would your advice be to somebody who, you know, is not, you know, 19, 25 years old, is older than that and wants to, always dreamed about being a musician or being something other, you know? What would your advice be? Because I'm always telling them, just pick up that instrument.
Yeah, just do it. I mean, I stopped everything a long time ago, and I just I'm like coming back from the dead. You know, I'm here for a little more than a year. I'm back in town, and just like remembering how to play guitar and doing all the things. It's not hard. It's easy. Let's go. Yeah, it's not too late. It's never too late.
Never.
Just do it. Just do it.
Fugit.
Fugit.
Exactly.
Fugit.
Hey, you came back. You came back strong, Cindy. You came back. Were you out hanging out the next day after you got back?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
I got perseverance.
Mm-hmm. That's what it's all about.
I'm telling you, me too. I got perseverance and good work ethic. What's going on here, Mimi?
Oh, that's right up. That's at the gas station next to CBGB's. And do you know why this picture was taken? I will tell you.
Because,
So I had a high school friend who was taking pictures for a project at school. I'm not even kidding. This is the truth, 100% the truth. He was taking pictures for a pro-choice project. This is 1985. He wanted to show what happens when you don't have an abortion. Like, literally, I'm sorry, but like, this was a pro-choice project that he was working on. He's taking pictures of me and like my friend Ava Lucian. Is she out there?
So
Ava?
wait, I'm confused.
Ava.
So
anyway, we were like posing with the guy at the gas station, and like literally, this is for a high school report.
But I'm confused, and I'm a guy, so I need special sort of.
So the term pro-choice was not really a thing back then, I don't think.
So are they saying what? Like, this is what happens if you don't get an abortion?
Yes,
This is
you turn out like me.
You're going to end up with something like this, hanging out on the Bowery, drinking booze at a punk rock show?
That's what his report. I swear to God, that's what it was. It's so ridiculous, but that was why this is why I have this picture. But that was me, yes, on the Bowery.
That's me, the living
on
abortion,
the Bowery,
hanging out on the Bowery.
I had a gas station on the Bowery, drinking.
And some people long for the good old days. It's incredible.
A small boy at age 15. I had the best time back then. Listen, I have a book. I have a whole book. I have like a journal I wrote.
What's that?
This is literally, Drew. I have like, I think it's 160 pages of pure gold that nobody will ever read. I wrote this.
It looks like a. Is it like
a diary?
Like closer. You can't see because the lighting in here, but
is that like Rob asked? Rob looked at me from across the room.
Yes,
and I think he liked me. But then
exactly
Murphy's Law. But then Murphy's Law started playing.
Yes,
and
then I was like, "See you later, Rob." No kidding.
and then Billy Psycho vomited on me in front of CB's.
Oh my God,
yeah, that's right. It's like the Unabomber's manifesto.
You're close. Did you read it? How'd you read that?
Wow.
Drew, that's 7 weeks of my life documented in narrative form, literally in narrative form, because I always wanted to be a writer growing up as a child. And I wrote this in narrative form, like, and then he said with quotes and like, it's really like,
wow.
But it's so embarrassing.
How did you meet your ex-husband, Rob Kabula? Did you guys grow up, go to the same high school?
No, I met him on Avenue A, literally on Avenue A.
How'd you get down the Avenue A from where you grew up?
I took a bus with my friend Paula, the girl.
But wait a second, you were into hardcore and punk rock, and you went down there and.
Oh, so my big brother, who was 7 years older than me, introduced me to the Ramones at like a very early age, like 8 years old. I was literally in elementary school, and I was in art class, and the teacher gave us all a blank slate, like a square, and they said, draw something on it, paint something on it, and I painted a Ramones album cover on it. And my mother threw it away. I'm gonna kill her. I still have that. Come on. But anyway, my older brother introduced me to punk rock and Sex Pistols, and I was into it really like 8 years old. I was into the Ramones, and then like at 10, I was Joy Division. I mean, for a 10-year-old to appreciate Joy Division, I mean,
yeah.
I'm in my 60s and I can't even appreciate Joy Division.
What's wrong with you? Anyway, so yes, my brother took me actually, I did see my first hardcore show at my high school, because we talked about how Rockland has spawned some punk rock musicians over the years. And I saw Kraut and the Undead at my high school. I don't remember.
Oh, wow.
First. Yeah. It wasn't the same show, I don't think, but my brother.
And just so I understand the timeline. So you start coming around and you're like, oh, there's a cute boy. And it's Rob Kabula from Agnostic Front? Oh, no, Cause for Alarm.
No, he was in AF already. It was 85 when I met him on Avenue.
Just
A.
wondering how these things work. And then
Paula
like,
actually walked up to him and started waving in his face because I was like,
let me ask you this. The first time you made out with Rob Kabula, was it at a CBGB's matinee?
I'm going to say something right now, and he's going to be so mad at me. But the first time I made out with Rob Kabula, it was gross because he just had duty chicken, like fucking from across the street. He just had like the mac and cheese from across the street. Duty chicken. Everybody knows duty chicken across the street. Yeah.
You know, I never. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But anyway, I'm just saying. And
I never made out with anybody at a hardcore matinee.
I have stories from back of that.
I mean, like, I just like, to me, like at hardcore back then when I went to those hardcore shows, it was just like gross dudes. That's it.
Do you remember the bagel fights that they would have from
the what?
From the bagel fights from Duty Chicken.
Yeah, sort of.
The bagel fight.
Actually, those girls, lot of those.
They would take the stale bagels and throw them across the street over, and everybody would throw stale bagels back and forth. And I was a casualty. I got hit in the head, and literally it was like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. My head went like a Bugs Bunny cartoon, and actually I had a nickname, Bagel Head, and Rob's call me Bagel Head. I'll blame him.
Because back then we've talked about this often. Like there was like Mohawk Sindi and like, you know, Joey Beer or whatever. Like, and like, so that's how you end up like with
Bagel Head.
Joey Nails.
Yeah. Mimi Bagel.
Mimi Bagel.
That's pretty fun.
That makes sense.
Yeah, so I have the book. This book, you could do a whole show on this book.
Listen, if we're scanning Cindy's negatives, then we're gonna make our way to that book.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is. Bagel War, summer '85. I remember it well.
Thank you. Somebody remembers.
I'm curious, where did said bagels come from? Where would there be? Was there a bag of stale bagels out left somewhere, or did somebody bring said bagels to the venue?
No, nobody brought them. They were like left, right? Brendan, help me. They were left over. I think they just dug them out of the garbage and just
probably the old.
It sort of reminds me of the goat torso story. You know that one that I've told?
Yes.
I went to the carnivore show, and carnivore threw like some animal carcasses into the crowd, and the crowd ripped these animals apart. I mean, they were dead. And all of a sudden, animal body parts started flying all over the place. And from the corner of my eye, I'm like watching the band, and I'm on high alert. And from the corner of my eye, I first saw coming through the air, end over end, and like I saw the goat torso.
Oh my God.
And so the goat torso starts, and then this girl next to me got hit square in the face with the goat torso. And I will never forget the sound. Like it's embedded in my head. The sound the goat torso made when it hit this girl smack in the face.
Goat head.
And she went down like a sack, like a ton of bricks. She hit the deck. Yeah.
I want to get her on the show. I want to goat torso girl. Where are you?
You know what? Also, just to throw this in the mix, Pete Steele also threw out the bucket of goat eyeballs.
Oh,
that went into the crowd. So there was eyeballs flying all over the place too.
Wow.
All right. Brendan says leftovers in the dumpster.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So like they were probably like, you know, probably weapons at that point.
And they were literally concrete bagels. Yeah. Imagine getting hit across the Bowery with a concrete bagel.
Gotta leave a mark.
Gotta leave a mark. 100%.
Do you think was it a plain bagel or an everything bagel or perhaps garlic bagel?
Not sure.
I mean, if I got hit in the face with
It
any
was
kind of bagel, excuse me, I know it's a little bourgeoisie, but I'd like to get hit in the face with like a blueberry bagel.
They didn't make them back then.
You'd have to be in Montreal to get hit in the face with a blueberry bagel.
That's my thing. When me and Larry go to the bagel place on the corner.
Oh, they do that too? Yep. Blueberry bagels.
There were no blueberry bagels back then.
Let me tell you something about this place on the corner. The blueberry bagel with blueberry cream cheese is like it's like $25. It's like what the fuck am I? It's like the fuck is this shit? Anyway, Sean McNally says "Goat Torso to the Face" sounds like an interesting song title.
I agree.
Wait, I have a great Tony T-shirt story. Can I share it?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So there was an incident on the Bowery also in front of CB's where there was like people like kicking in cab windows and like smashing the windows, throwing things, bottles on the windows of cabs. And the cops came. It was like a big deal. I don't know, maybe Brent remembers this, but so that I started all of that by accident. I was just standing outside of CB's, and you know the theater right next door. People were like exiting the theater, and these guys were exiting the theater, and I was there with my little friend Yoko. He was 8 years old. I was 15, and this little kid was 8 years old who came to these shows. His name was Yoko, and he had an older sister, Krishna. I don't know if anybody remembers them, but anyway, so I'm standing there and calling a cab, and he was mad that the cab went by, and he went wham! He put his arm down and smashed the face. So my little friend Yoko went crazy and started kicking him, little 8-year-old kicking him, fuck yeah, screaming at him, and the guy's like screaming back, and like we got into this big fight, and then the next thing you know, they're calling a cab, and while he's waving down the cab, the guy's like tries to fight me. So this guy tries to fight me, like was had his hands up, arms up, trying to fight me. Tony T-shirt had his back the whole time to this whole situation. He never turned around, and he literally karate kicked a guy from behind, like he had eyes in the back of his head. I'll never forget it. He karate kicked the guy in the chest. Because the guy was approaching me. Like I never saw anything like it. Tony T-shirt had eyes behind the back of his head. He was trained properly.
Tony T-shirt was an interesting character.
But he was a karate guy. Do you remember that? That he was a karate guy? No.
New York City Majestic says, "I'll take a cinnamon raisin with cream cheese."
Oh, that sounds good too.
Anthony Green says, "Kiss the goat." All right.
All righty.
All right. Hey, look, what can I say? We had some laughs. Here's the true currency of this wretched life that we lead. I am looking forward to Sunday when Fugit kicks it off at the Bowery Electric Free All Ages Sunday Matinee. It is Scott Dotino and Sid the Kid's birthday bash, featuring Fugit, Jerry Body, and it looks like it's going to be Dead Crew performing. The Long Wait featuring Jamie Sharappa of SSD Control and Steve Ristine from Slapshot, and others, Shoot the Five and Fury of Five. So looking forward to it.
Get there early.
Get there early.
Because you don't want to miss.
Get there early, or Tony T-shirt, Yoko and Krishna.
I'm going to drag your asses in. Yes, who just said that? Yoko and Krishna, yes.
Yeah, Tim Cohen says, I remember Yoko and Krishna.
Get there early or you're going to get bagels.
Get there
I'm going
early.
to drag everybody in. No one's going to be outside. I'm telling you right now.
No, we're going to all want to be outside because of the AC.
Nobody hangs out outside. I go out there with the megaphone. I'm like, get off the sidewalk.
Right.
And I start insulting people. I like you. You subhuman. I call people out. No, it's not 2 p.m. Fugit's not playing at 2. Fugit's playing at 2:40.
All right, whatever. Let them go in at 2 p.m. What's wrong with that?
Go in, have a drink, relax,
Joanna's looking out for me. She's trying to get people there early.
get some
I would
AC.
like that. What's wrong with you, Drew?
You know what? Because I don't play that. Like, tell them 2. We really play at 3.
I play it. I play that.
Yeah, because of your knucklehead friends out up in Rockland, you have to tell them that.
No.
Because if you're playing at 3 and
So
you
those
tell
knucklehead people in Rockland.
right,
Thank you.
get there early or get a goat torso in the face.
Thank you, Sean.
Right.
Thank you.
And if anybody knows that woman who got hit with that goat torso, we have questions.
Who got
Yeah.
hit with the goat torso?
Yeah. I
All
can't
right.
imagine.
Hey, let's go eat dinner, you guys, huh?
Yeah. I gotta pee.
I know. Drew's hungry at 6 o'clock.
Thank
Hey,
you.
Drew, before
Lori,
you go, I
Lori,
want you to pronounce this band. Pronounce this band properly.
we just played with them the other night, didn't we?
Pronounce it properly.
Scumbari.
I'm a Guinea. I'm 100% Guinea.
What is it?
It's Scumbari.
Scumbari.
Did they
Not
play right at,
Scumbari.
They played. Yo, it's Scumbari. Did they play right
Scumbari.
after us the other night?
Best name ever. I love these guys.
Yeah.
I
Good
bought
band.
their record because I love it. And look, the best album cover.
Hey, I hope everybody enjoyed this. This,
right,
by
thank
the way,
you, Drew. Thank
just,
you.
know, just so everybody knows, there will no longer be males of the species permitted on the show. I am only doing the show now with females. So
Good choice.
men are no longer welcome on the show.
That's it.
I'm phasing males off the show.
Especially, Drew's not even allowed on this show anymore. We're taking over. That's it.
Awesome.
This is now the
Sunday.
Chronicles.
I am back. I am identifying as a female now.
Oh,
There you go. Estrogen.
All right. Lot.
Thank you, guys. I love you. Drew, thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
I love
See you on Sunday.
Lori, thank you.
Sunday.
We'll see you
Awesome.
Sunday
Thank you.
afternoon, okay?
Sunday. Yep.
See you Sunday.
Cindy, thanks for the laughs. Are you coming? Are you around on Sunday? You coming down?
I'll see you on Sunday.
Awesome.
I'll be there.
Fat. We'll see
Fantastic.
you then.
Can't
All right.
All right.
That was fun. And that was a long one.
It was fun. It was almost 3
Yes.
hours. Holy shit.
Yeah, I know.
Drew and Annette.
My cat starved to death while we were doing the show. So
I'm no longer. There's no more males allowed on the show, and I identify as a female. I am Drew Annette.
Drew Annette. Yes. That's it. So no, that was fantastic.
It was fun. We'll do it again soon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All right. I'll talk to you, and I'll see you on Sunday.
Yep.
Hey,
See you Sunday.
Steve Racine. Steve Racine from The Long Wait. That's right, buddy. Get your ass down there. All right. Go feed the cats.
Yes.
Talk to
Good
you
night,
soon.
everyone.
Well, there you have it. Lots of laughs. Today was a lot of laughs. And let's be thankful for that. Thanks a lot, everybody, for stopping by. This was the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Hopefully, I'll see you on Sunday. If not, we will be back here on Wednesday with Greg Jacobs. Until next time, do good things and good things will come.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies. Decide the fiction from the truth. Society's slow and tragic demise. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone.